Hi there, welcome to the Always Wired podcast with myself, Scott Ewan Smith, and my two pals here. What do I say? Pals? Guest stars?
Co-workers.
Co-hosts?
Co-hosts, or co-stars.
You should show everybody you're painting a Napoleon, Big Napoleon.
Aye, I'll get that up.
That could be the picture.
There's the thing.
Over the video.
Is anybody going to be able to understand this? Because we keep talking and it's upside down.
It's Mussolini.
Robert, English listeners, a dog is a dog.
Aye. That's something I'll need to try and curve a wee bit, is the slang.
I do it as well. I know difficult people to understand.
Especially on Twitter, we've got a lot of American followers on MMA Twitter. Aye, it's fucking unreal. It's all bad.
Popular in America.
Aye, well, taking off. We're taking off in the States.
Taking over the world.
Like the Beatles.
Aye, essentially we are.
We're essentially the Beatles. That should be the tagline.
Aye, we are the Beatles.
Essentially the Beatles, mate.
At this time with talent.
I was saying to one of my friends, I was saying to my pal that we were doing a podcast today, and he was I love talking shit. You should get me on. And I was that'd actually be quite a funny idea, because his name, it'd be like Always Wired features Alex Turner. And I'll be like, we'll get so many pissed off Arctic Monkeys fans joining us.
Is Alex Turner like an Arctic Monkeys?
He's a lead singer.
I've never heard them. I don't.
They're fucking good. I love the Arctic Monkeys, man. They're so big as well. It's especially Americans are huge.
I saw them at Tea in the Park, and mate, Alex Turner was pinged out his nut. Absolutely pinging.
Did you listen to The View?
No. Is that not an old American woman show, The View?
I think it is, but it's a band from Scotland, right, called The View, and they're always like out their nut when they play. But there was a guy, their lead singer's called Kyle Faulkner, and he was playing a show over in, I think it was like Sweden or something, and like you can't drink on, this is like a no drinking audience. It's like under 18s, no one's drinking, and he freaked out that it was like, drinking, because he's used to his audience, he's been steaming, so he took like all these mushrooms before he went on stage. And he was like playing his guitar, and then my pal Logan was he gets so at his nut that he just sat down in the middle of the stage, and he was just like playing his guitar so shitely, and everybody was booing him.
It's an accurate representation of the Scottish abroad, though. Fleeing out their nut on something. No, I don't know who the Arctic Monkeys are. Like, I know their name. They don't exist in my world. I know who they are, but I don't.
No one.
Essentially, yeah, it's just a Metallica bubble.
But I don't think we done our introductions though. I think we just kind of kicked. I think it started off with me bringing out the Napoleon over here. We got it as a birthday present for my girlfriend, and it's him just draped as Napoleon. I did think it was going to be like a lot bigger, but it's like the size of an A4 bit of paper. But when I first seen it, like the picture that the guy had sent was quite deceiving, so I thought it was going to be like massive. So it was going to go as a centerpiece in my living room.
We should try and make that a trend. Anybody that watches this, doll your pet up like a conqueror and send them into judge them.
We can have a pet off once a month. Winner gets a prize.
Somebody dresses their cat up like Attila the Hun.
Right, so as you can all tell, this is not a professional podcast.
Oh, no.
So that's Martin and that's Blay. Blay is the ginger one and Martin is the other ginger one.
I'm technically no ginger because my hair fell out.
Technicalities.
Right, so I guess we'll just keep going with like who we are and what we like.
Right.
So let's start with football. I'm a Liverpool supporter. Martin is a Liverpool supporter. Ooh, and you'll find out why.
Always at the wheel.
Always at the Man United supporter.
This is where you're always at the wheel.
Oh my God, always at the wheel. I I
It's a thing.
thought that was just a Twitter thing that everyone made fun of.
No, mate. It's a thing.
It's a real phrase.
I've been waiting 7 years to say it, but this is our year. You heard it here first.
All right, so is that your predictions for the
No,
season?
Chelsea will win the league.
They'll either win the
Abramovich
league
just
or
went
they
a
will
bit-
like have a real bad patch because they've brought so many people in.
Abramovich has went a bit crazy this window, hasn't he? He's like clearly pissed off that they've not let him sign anyone for the last 2 years. So he's just went, "What's financial fair play?"
It's kind of nice to see though, like a manager actually getting the backing at Chelsea. He seems to like Lampard, and he's given him an open checkbook to buy whoever he wants. So
And-
that's quite nice.
But I don't know. I'm unsure if that goes against the kind of philosophy that Frank Lampard was looking to build last season. What he was looking to build on, he was this new age football manager who was going to bring through the youth, and they were going to build from the ground up. Whereas that just seemed to be a bit of a ploy last year. I know they did need to strengthen in areas, but they've just went from like one extreme to the other. They've just went, we're going to play the youth that year, but it's really because we can't buy MDL, so we're going to fill these with this false prophecy, and then as soon as we can buy, we're going to spend like posh spice on cocaine.
Yeah, Lampard's young lions are just kind of pushed to the side now.
It was obviously lying because it was illegal for them to buy anybody. So, now he must know other youth philosophy because he's taken that blank checkbook and bought like a whole new starting 11 because they're getting that French goalkeeper in for Rene meant to be.
Oh,
And then
Mendy.
Mendy, and then Declan Rice. So,
Is Declan Rice in?
well, it's rumoured, but everybody else they've been rumoured with have signed. So.
That's pretty. Werner was a cracking signing though. Like Werner's really good signing.
Yeah.
If they need a new goalkeeper as well, because that boy's Kepa.
They've not really touched the defence. They brought in Thiago Silva, but he's like a pensioner now.
Aye.
Gets injured almost every game.
It's that bit of experience, but innit?
Yeah.
That's,
But like Chelsea's attack wasn't the problem. They got top 4.
Yeah, it was their defence that was leaking.
but at least they weren't tricked into spending 80 million on a tatty like Man United did. Harry Maguire and his whole team should be done for fraud. They should be sued. The most expensive defender of all time, and he marks his own players.
Turns his back on play.
I can't remember what the game was, but it was one of the last games of the season. We conceded a goal off a set piece, and Maguire was seen marking Aaron Wan-Bissaka. And somehow in the post-match breakdown, it was Victor Lindelof got all the stick for that. But the captain and most expensive defender of all time is marking his own teammates. I mean, I don't know. He gets the blame for that. But luckily, hopefully, I think Marcus Rojo is going to get another opportunity. And you know, I like me some Marcus Rojo. He's a warrior. He might not be very good.
Love his Marcus Rojo.
I like Marcus Rojo. I love him. He's an animal.
Yeah,
he's an animal. He can just about defend, and he can't make toast.
Hey, I like burnt toast.
Blair, it was burnt to cinders.
It was as black as this T-shirt, but I was still a bit. If it was me, quite seriously, if they were both fit, I would have Marcus Rojo and Eric Bailly. They'd be my defenders. Because at least they're not afraid of the ball, like Lindelof, and they know who to mark.
Lindelof's not very good in the air.
Which is funny, because he's 6'3".
Is that from an Instagram post he put up?
Aye, he took an Instagram post like 3 years ago of him shirtless in bed with a plate of toast. And the toast was burnt black. But he looked happy, so I mean, he must like his toast burnt.
Some folk like a bit of burnt toast.
It was not even honest toast though. There was no butter, there was no nut. It was just two pieces of really burnt toast.
That was the weird bit. There was no butter, no jam, no nothing, just burnt toast. That was the weird bit.
You've kind of got to check his hard drive.
The point is, he's obviously a bit weird, but he likes a really crunching tackle. He reminds me of my other favourite centre back at all time, who you know, Ryan Shawcross.
I thought you were doing the Vidic route there.
No.
Oh no.
I love Vidic, but me and Ryan Shawcross are like this. I love Ryan Shawcross. Yeah. He
wanted to sign him from Stoke.
I did that. And then I think it was FIFA 17 when he still had quite a decent rating. I used to buy him all the time. He was my like 3 million it cost. He was my centre back. Because I like that. I like a big ugly guy that will just try and kill you. Which Harry Maguire's big and ugly, but he doesn't. He can't tackle. So.
He's got some size of head on him, man.
He's a walking turnip of him.
Aye.
United always, since Ferguson retired, have went out their way to sign players that I hate. And just when I think I was getting all right because Fellaini got sold and I couldn't stand the ground the man walked on, they went and bought Harry Maguire. So.
I quite liked Fellaini. He was a bit of a bastard.
I've never liked Fellaini.
See the a wee bit of elbow, a pinch under the arm, all that kind of stuff.
He couldn't play football. All he could do was elbows. They would always say, we'll bring him on in the last 10 minutes. Maybe he can win a header in the box. I'm like, I should hope he can win a header. He's 8 feet tall. He doesn't even need to jump for it. He just walks into it. I hate him, man.
He wasn't like... he wasn't subtle with his elbows. He would just go up and go, bang, hit you with the elbow. And then go, ref, did nothing wrong.
I remember that transfer window quite well. I stayed up like late in bed with my phone on looking to see who the last minute signings would be because we were supposed to be getting Fabregas. And I was all like, yes, Fabregas is going to come, it's going to be brilliant. And it's like 5 minutes to the close of the window. Man United announced new signing. I'm like, oh, who have we got? It was Luke Shaw and Marouane Fellaini, and my heart just sank. Like, what? Come on.
United have had a bit of a tough time of it since
Shaw before he came. I thought he was quite promising. I thought he had all the attributes to be a really good fullback, but injuries has halted him.
Injuries and no being
and
very
kebabs.
Kebabs.
So, Scott, who are you thinking for the Premiership this year?
It's a tough one. It's always hard not to say Man City because they're backed by a country and a prince. And they already had the best team, and now they've just added more and more and more. But I think it will be between City, Liverpool, and Chelsea. But it depends on Chelsea because, like I said before, they can either rocket up the league or they can have a real bad patch because they brought in 8 players.
It's a whole new squad, and
there's no chemistry there yet.
If they all manage to work and gel well together for the start, then they'll be hard to beat. Especially if they get that new goalkeeper in Mendy, because Kepa's really bad. They were
yeah, he's really bad. He's bad at penalties, and he refuses to come off.
I know. Remember that?
And they've got a proven penalty keeper.
Because they were trying to swap him for Willie Calderero, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He's like a penalty king.
Yeah. It's like him and Tim Krul are like the best at saving penalties.
He's just refused to pick him off. He's at Norwich now. I think he's only there because he looks exactly like their manager. But I think that's his love child.
What, Daniel Farker?
It's like he's trying to enter a lookalike contest and won, and that's his fucking chance.
Like Stuart Downing in the England call-up.
Aye.
That Masbar thing.
Remember Stuart Downing? That's a blast for the past.
Remember we spent 20 million on Stuart Downing?
Oh, absolutely. There was some
that's the
Liverpool money flung about back then.
Sure it is.
See all that Andy Carroll. Mind you, I liked me some Benteke, but he didn't quite hit it.
Benteke.
I like Andy Carroll. I've got a soft spot for Andy Carroll because he's like big and mean, and he just comes in and tries to hurt people.
Did you hear all the stories about him in Newcastle?
No.
He got on so well with Mike Ashley, like they would go out like to pubs together. And before he came to Liverpool, him and Mike Ashley were in a pub and they were messing around, and Andy Carroll fell off a bar stool, and that's how he came to us injured.
That's handy though, because everybody hates Mike Ashley. So like Andy Carroll's big and scary. So like, you wouldn't want to pal about with him in case somebody tried to bottle you.
That's probably the reason he wasn't bottled, because he had pals at him.
I've always liked Andy Carroll, to be fair. I thought he was great at Newcastle. He's got a lot of big goals.
He's a bit of a big grease ball, isn't he? He's just like that heat. I can't stand a man that's got a ponytail. I'm sorry. It
depends on who they are. Like Zlatan's man bun, I accept that because he's Zlatan. I mean,
aye.
And we love Zlatan, so. And I like Gareth Bale
with the style. Remember when like the football restarted after lockdown, and he looked like he'd just been playing Red Dead Redemption 2 all the way through it. He had the proper chops and everything.
Oh, Andy Carroll, aye.
Yeah, Andy Carroll.
He had the big like Lemmy from Motorhead. The big
Yeah.
That was a good look though. He should have kept that. I thought it looked cool. Should have shaved all his hair off and just kept that big weird beard. He couldn't have made him look any more terrifying.
Is he not like 6'4" or something as well?
He's huge,
man. He's a massive man.
He's a big guy. Yeah.
He just drinks beer as well. It's like a bus.
Oh, he's from Newcastle.
Yeah, most of them do.
It says you're sitting with a bottle of Budweiser at
Aye. It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
I have no here.
Yeah.
It's a great excuse, isn't it? 5 o'clock somewhere.
Aye, an alcoholic's favourite.
Yeah.
For anybody that's checking out my shirt, it's a Celtic one. It's Lubomir Moravchik. I got it from 4 Tims in a podcast. I can't remember what their website for their t-shirts are, but if you want one, if you like yourself some Lubo, look them up on Twitter. 4 Tims in a podcast, and I'm sure you'll be able to.
4 Tims
in a podcast.
It's good that you point that out though, because for some angles it just looks like your t-shirt says lube on it, which taken out of context could be a bit strange.
Aye, they're just sitting there going, this man's clearly a sexual deviant and he's wanting to showcase it to the world.
Between the t-shirt and the moustache, that is definitely the sort of image that you're sending it.
Freddie Mercury, didn't he, in the bottom corner?
Freddie Mercury suited his moustache.
Freddie Mercury did suit his moustache, but I think that was just because he rocked it for so long.
Everything else they wore was so ridiculous that your focus was taken away from the moustache. Like he's walking about with a cape on and stuff. It takes away from the facial hair a bit.
Yeah. But I watched their film Bohemian Rhapsody. That was quite good.
I haven't seen it. No.
I would advise you, man. It's pretty good. Because you could just imagine him being like that in the studio, and I think that's part of his brilliance, that he was just an absolute prick. Because it was like they just believed in themselves so much that he just did not give a fuck. And even when the record label was a bit like, "No, you can't do that," he was like, "No, I'm going to do that." And then,
sort of like Putin when he goes to steal a country. You can't do it. I can do that though. Day drinking and pissing.
if Joe Rogan can drink in his podcast, I can drink in mine.
Joe Rogan's a millionaire though, and everybody knows who he is.
Aye, that's true. But
I like him because he's out there representing the bald men. The bald men in the world. The bald men can be successful.
He's great. He's really good to listen to as well.
It depends who he has on, I think.
See, sometimes I think he's a bit arse-sooky.
Arse-sooky.
And it drives me up the wall. But see, sometimes he brown noses his who's on too much, and he doesn't really say what he's thinking. He's
going to come and choke you out now for saying that.
I know, but I would not. He would lie on me. It wouldn't even be funny.
If this video makes it big, he's going to know you were talking shit about him. He's going to come and kill you.
I love him. I watch him all the time.
I
was listening to him, and he said that he kicks as hard as Ngannou punches.
Jesus Christ!
So there's like machines that you can hit, and they register the force of what you're hitting with. And he kicked it. Like Ngannou punched the same machine, and he was like, "My kicks are as hard as like Ngannou's punches." It's
that's crazy.
I know. It just highlights how hard Ngannou punches. His shin is much stronger than a fist.
Oh, right.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine standing in the cage across from Francis Ngannou as he's coming to kill you. Because he's been training for 6 months to beat you to a pulp. And he's enormous. Imagine standing, waiting, watching that come towards you.
Where's he from? Is it Ghana or something?
It's somewhere in Africa, I think.
Cameroon.
Cameroon.
Aye,
The man is
Oh.
genuinely scary looking.
Oh, he's huge.
because he's only been training for like 6 to 8 years or something. Because he was homeless in Africa. Not Africa, sorry. He was homeless in France for a while, and obviously MMA used to be illegal in France, but it's now I think it get legalised this year because they're now doing Bellator over there at the end of this year. Shout out to Ross Houston from Scotland, who's going to absolutely murk Michael Venom Page. Hashtag fucking save that for when he does. But no, he was homeless over there, and then I think he just got into boxing or something, and just grew into mixed martial arts. Because when he was a kid, he worked in the sand mines. So that's how he's. But that's how he's so. That's how he's so big. Because like, his whole life was just like digging sand. It comes to a mentality as well. Like you don't want to fuck with somebody that's
been digging sand under the beaten African sun.
Aye.
There's also 7 feet tall. So, oh no! If I had to fight him for any reason, I would as soon as the bell went, I would just drop to my knees and start tapping it before he get his giant horns on me and pulled my skull off.
Because he just knocks people out, and like I think his last 3 fights have totaled about 2.5 minutes. And they've been cut. It was like that Rosenstrike, who was a world champion, Kane Velasquez and Junior Dos Santos, all world champions, and then he met Curtis Blades in about 40 seconds as well.
Imagine what he could do to a normal person like one of us.
Aye.
But there's that question: would you take a punch from him for like £1 million? No, because he would genuinely be able to kill me.
You can't enjoy your money when you're dead.
I know.
But he's supposed to be one of the nicest people in the world.
That's lucky for everybody else, isn't it? Because that big and strong and scary, but a prick with problems.
That like Brock Lesnar.
If he had an ego.
Brock Lesnar is a prick with an ego, but he lives in the mountains. Like he lives out in the mountains killing his dinner, so he never interacts with anybody. So it's fine.
I think that's probably the reason why. Otherwise, he would hunt people.
He could have like a potato farm up there in the mountains. Is that not how he got the call to fight Mark Hunt?
It was either Mark Hunt or over him. He was in his tractor.
He was harvesting
potatoes in the mountains somewhere. And he's like, "You want to come into a cage and fight somebody?" He's like, "Aye, I'll do that. That sounds like a fun thing to do."
I can't imagine he has like a mobile phone.
No.
So Sable's just running out there with a little
I like
phone.
The best thing about him was I remember when he was promoting the last WWE game, but the one before that, I think it was 2K19. He got asked a question because Conor McGregor had been talking shite about him, like he's known today, and he didn't know because Brock doesn't get the internet or a phone or the telly or any of that sort of thing. And it was that whoever the wee announcer guy that asked him was like, "What do you think about that?" And Brock said, "Look, I've never heard it before, but if you want to like come and fin me, then we'll see who's talking." Just something to that effect. And then Conor never talked shit about him again. Which
I've seen that. He's like, he's like what 150. I'm like 300 pounds of pure muscle. I would kill him.
He definitely would. And then I think that it was made known that he knew that Conor stopped talking shit about him. Because no sensible person wants Brock Lesnar coming after them.
Oh no.
Because I know he does. I know he's like in the performance industry, but have you not seen the videos of him on the pictures when he was like a young guy at college? He was an
NCAA champion, and he's like 18 or something, and he's 6 feet, whatever height he is, and 300 ton.
He's looked basically the exact same since he was 16.
He's just huge and scary.
Massive.
Have you seen the picture of his daughter?
Yeah.
His daughter.
She's his double. She's his double. It's just him with long hair. She's got the big neck and the shoulders and all that kind of thing.
Imagine your mother was Sable and you look like Brock. Poor thing.
I'll get a picture up.
It's any of her future boyfriends I feel bad for. Imagine getting taken to his cabin to eat a meal that he has killed earlier that day. He has hunted your dinner. You're out there trying to get with his daughter. No, thank you.
You see him bend over and you see that tattoo of "kill them all" on the top
anyone
of his
who's
back.
not seen Brock Lesnar's daughter, that is her. It's her next to Papa.
Next to Papa.
It's him with tits in it.
If for whatever reason this finds its way to his mountain lair, remember it was the wee ginger Neddy looking man. We had nothing to do with it. Please don't kill us.
Oh, please. Begging you.
So in the last 10 minutes, you managed to offend Joe Rogan and Brock Lesnar. You better hope we never get famous, because this is going to come out and they're going to see it and they're going to kill you.
Yeah, Brock Lesnar will legit swim across the ocean and kill you.
Oh, I can't believe I
Sharks as he goes. Imagine knowing he was coming after you, though.
That'd be terrifying. He's huge.
You need to move to one of these science biomes in Antarctica and hope he never finds you.
It's alright, I'll just phone Alistair Overeem.
Oh.
Shots fired.
I think in a fight to the death, Brock Lesnar would kill him. I really do.
Yeah.
Because that was a sanctioned fight and stuff, but Overeem's like a normal guy that's just big. Brock Lesnar eats everything that he kills. It's a different sort of human being. In a fight to the death, I think Brock Lesnar would rip by
I think he would take him down and just break his neck or something.
He'd probably shoot him, wouldn't he? If it was a fight to the death, he'd probably just shoot him.
What do you think Brock Lesnar versus John Jones potential?
I hope that happens and that Brock Lesnar murders him.
I don't like John Jones.
I quite like John Jones. I don't see Brock Lesnar beating him.
He runs down an old woman. How can you like that?
Yeah.
Or a pregnant woman.
He's a good fighter, but I don't respect him as a man.
He's not a great person, no. But here's Brock Lesnar, I'd imagine.
Brock Lesnar never ran anybody down though.
Right, Brock Lesnar's a bit of an asshole, but he's never really done anything that bad. But he's been in some wrestling storylines, like throwing that one-legged guy down the stairs.
Oh, dude, that was brilliant. He's like covering his face in his blood, and the wee guy's mum's crying.
I think they should have Brock Lesnar and John Jones fight, but USADA shouldn't be involved at all.
USADA turned a blind eye to that one. Get John Jones out, he's not on cocaine. Feed Brock Lesnar all the supplements that he wants to take for 6 months. All that good game meat that he's been shooting, and then just let them kill one another. That'd be hilarious. I would like.
Who do you think would
For
win?
any of the viewers, you'll notice we'll talk about these big beefy men and then just ask about, imagine them chasing you down.
Aye, disclaimer, there's going to be a lot of freaking out about huge scary guys and a lot of freaking out about huge scary animals. No, we've not got to that yet, but it will come. But to your question, I think Brock Lesnar would win that because he's just too big. I know John Jones is tall and he's quite big and strong, but that size, that weight differential is crazy. He's an enormous, enormous man who was a champion collegiate wrestler. He could take John Jones down, I don't doubt that. And
he's all muscle as well.
And he's all muscle. Imagine lying below that while he's trying to punch your teeth in the back of your throat.
John Jones's takedown defence is phenomenal. Like his wrestling is off the chart. Like you've seen it against Daniel Cormier.
Yeah. Well, his takedown defence is amazing. I'm just saying Brock is also a champion wrestler who is twice the size of Daniel Cormier. So, I mean, defending against Cormier is one thing, but Brock he has to cut weight to make fights. He's so much bigger and stronger and heavier. I don't think it would work for John. I could be wrong.
When Brock and Daniel Cormier were in the octagon together, and Brock just shoves him, and then Daniel tries to shove him back, and he just doesn't move.
And the size differential, man. Daniel Cormier was like there, and Brock's in this custom-made suit, like this size. Cormier and Joe Rogan are all looking up at this. These cowboy boots, he's probably shot the animal itself. You get Cormier and Joe Rogan are like here, and Brock Lesnar up here. Just smiling at everybody, like, nah, mate, nah.
There needs to be a point where size does come into it because he's.
Oh, massive. It does. Remember we watched that old fight, that old K1 fight. It was Ernesto Hust and Bob Sapp. And Ernesto Hust is one of the greatest kickboxers of all time. He's better than Bob Sapp in every conceivable, measurable factor. But Bob Sapp beat the holy crap out of him because he's 6'5", 360 pounds of muscle. Size matters, people. It does. Was that
the guy Bob Sapp just ran at? And I grabbed him.
No, that was one of the Pride fights. When he was in Pride, they would get these wee tiny middleweight Japanese men and make them fight Bob Sapp.
Yeah, in like karate gis.
Aye.
He would just destroy them.
There was some wee tiny guy in a gi and he just get him by the throat and hook him. It was like watching a car crash. He's
that guy hit Bob Sapp after the bell.
And then he jumped on his head.
He jumps on his face.
It took about 10 men to grab Bob Sapp off of him.
10 little Japanese referees trying to get Bob Sapp, this massive cloud of muscle and wrist, just trying to get him off him.
Two things about that. Firstly, before we saw that video, we used to have a running joke about how many referees do you think it would take to pull Bob Sapp off a man if he decided to try and kill him. Now we know it's 10. And secondly, he never punches with his fists, as you say, it's the wrist. He's got these getting 6-inch. No, Nathan, he's a terrible fighter, but he's just so huge. He's got 6-inch wrists and he just like hods you and smashes you with them.
Yeah, he's like kind of King Kong or like Donkey Kong, when he's just kind of bashes down like that. Hammer fist.
He does hammer fists while you're standing up. That's how big he is. But the point I was going to make anyways, Ernesto Hus was a world champion kickboxer and Bob Sapp leathered him twice. Aye. They fought twice and Sapp's enormous strength was just, it was too much. So I mean, size is definitely a factor. And Brock Lesnar is so much bigger than Daniel Cormier and so much stronger than John Jones. I mean, Jones could win, like it's no inconceivable. He's a better fighter probably, I would say, scale-wise. It's no inconceivable, but like there's weight classes for a reason. You know what I mean?
Like, he's that big, you'd probably just completely overwhelm him.
That's what I think. John Jones is quite a big guy as well, and that's been him cutting weight. Like, imagine him at 235. It's big.
John Jones is scary at light heavyweight, so if you pick him up to heavyweight, it's going to be even scarier because he's a big built guy. We've all seen that footage of him deadlifting. He was deadlifting like 300 pounds or something for reps. But Brock Lesnar needs to cut weight to make these fights. He's that goddamn big. So it doesn't matter how big John Jones gets, Brock will still be heavy.
Yeah, Jones might be walking around at like 235, but Brock's walking around at like 325.
when he's small, he's
exciting fight.
I will watch that. Aye. But as we all know, it's not going. If that happens, it's not going to be the biggest fight of 2021. It just isn't. The biggest fight of 2021, as we all know, will be Eddie Hall versus Hafthor Bjornsson in a boxing match, which I will I will unapologetically buy that in pay-per-view because
absolutely, I'll buy that. I'll buy that as well because when I first heard about it, I thought Eddie Hall was going to win, but I thought it was going to be soon. And I've seen the shape Eddie Hall's getting recently. He's got really quite fit, and I thought maybe, and I heard, it's going to be next year. They both get over a year to train. I went, Hafthor Merkson.
I think it might be like that bit in Game of Thrones that Hafthor's in. Right? He crushes Oberyn's skull. Like that might happen. Because Eddie Hall is huge, right? He's like 6'3" or whatever size he is, 300 odd pound. But Hafthor's, what height is he even? 7 feet, 6'9", somewhere up there.
Yeah, like 6'8".
Something crazy.
Somewhere around there.
400 pounds.
Yeah, he holds the weight well as well.
He does.
Eddie Hall looks like a bit of a battle.
He doesn't look fat at all. He's got like abs. A big half.
He does. He's 400 pounds with abs. Like what's that?
It's frightening. But he's a stroke victim or something, isn't he?
Like he's got Bell's palsy.
Right. Because his face kind of droops.
It comes and goes. It takes like bouts. But
I think that makes him look even more terrifying.
He is.
He's kind of that droopy look.
The biggest human being that's ever lived, and Eddie Hall wants to get into a ring with him.
Yeah.
Eddie Hall's either brave or stupid. I don't know.
I think them two genuinely don't really like each other.
Well, there is that in the 6-figure contracts they signed. So I mean, it's a lot of money. I'm looking forward to it though.
No, absolutely not. I'm looking forward to it.
Do you see it going more than 1 or 2 rounds?
No.
No, I think after one round they'll both be blowing at their arse.
They've both said they're training to go the full length, but of course they're going to say that, isn't they? They're training for a fight. Can you imagine it's going to be a spectacular knockout? If either one of them wins by knockout, it's going to be the biggest knockout of all time. They better reinforce the ring, or it's going to be like that time Big Show superplexed Mark Henry or whoever the hell that was, and the ring collapsed. It's going to be like that.
Oh yeah.
I just hope it doesn't turn out like Kimbo Slice versus Dada 500, when when no one really does anything.
Kimbo reference. I used to love those street fights. It's like him in somebody's back garden with his shirt off, just punching fuck out of somebody.
That's where Jorge Masvidal came from. He came from Kimbo's back garden.
Really?
Aye, he's, if you
I
look
think
that
I've
up
seen
on YouTube,
pictures of that.
aye, there's a lot of his old YouTube videos are on there. Because he's badass as they come.
That's the street Jesus fella, isn't it?
Aye, Masvidal. Aye, he's like he was like 185 pounds or something, and they were getting him to fight like really big guys, and he was battering them.
God almighty. He's got quite a sweet beard. He looks like a cult leader. He's got all that hair and the beard.
Aye,
looks like a Jim Jones type cult leader.
Like, his career was kind of coming to a bit of a stalemate, and then he went on like it was like a South American game show. He went on. It was essentially like Bear Grylls the Island, where he had to be on island.
I would watch the hell out of that. Take like 12 men and dump them up the Amazon and make them fight to the death. That'd be brilliant.
Well, like that Stone Cold movie, The Condemned or whatever.
Oh, The Condemned, aye. That was brilliant.
That was a really good movie. I liked that.
Drop 12 serial killers on an island and see who wins.
Of course, it's your man, Stone Cold.
Well, he's 6'5", Texas rattlesnake muscle. So.
Right.
And that's the bottom line.
Because Blair said so.
Yeah.
He was on that island, and he was on it for like 2 months or something, and like he had to go to like the village to get water and food, and then he was having to come out, and then he was he get like his phone taken off him. He'd like no internet and that, so he spent a lot of time with like his thoughts, and he was kind of like he was thinking about his whole career, and he's I've had so many like kind of close decision or split decision losses, and he's kind of like, why am I not knocking these fools out? And then he just came back with this new mindset, and I think that's when he starts Darren Till. He then went on to absolutely destroy Ben Askren.
Being lost in the jungle fighting other people would make you think that sort of way, though, wouldn't it? Like, it would change your worldview and things a bit.
But they seem to be trying to target a rematch with him and Nate Diaz for the baddest motherfucker belt, like a rematch of that.
Aye, they should. That's the last fight I think I've seen. Like, I stopped watching UFC for a while. I think that's the last fight I saw.
It was the last one I saw, actually. Yeah.
It was a good fight, but it's just see like the belt for like, the baddest motherfucker getting stopped with a cut. It's a bit anticlimactic, innit?
A cut on a Diaz brother, whose faces is, as we all know, just pure scar tissue at this point. Like, they bleed constantly. They bleed blood on their nose, so there was no reason to stop it. So I thought it was a terrible decision, but judges, refs.
Because it's been quite prone for that. They stop a lot of fights. But
it's a guarantee.
Like safety first, eh?
Aye, but if either Diaz brother is fighting, they're going to bleed. It doesn't matter what happens to them. Like, the bleed making a take them. You know what I mean?
Virgin.
Jesus Christ. Aye. Like a virgin.
It's just God. It's whether they can market that fight to go any other way, because Jorge was beating the fuck out of him.
Aye, it was, but again, that's another Diaz thing, isn't it? They take a lot of punishment in like the first 3 rounds and then come back and whoop you in the 4th or 5th and win. They're durable as all hell. So I mean, there's every chance that Nate could have won that fight.
I agree.
I would like to see them make that again, because I like both the Diaz brothers.
Because after that fight, Nick was talking about fighting George, because he was saying about like George said he was going to baptise him, like baptise Nate, and Nick took like real offence to that. He was kind of like, you don't say that about someone's little brother.
He's a scary boy. Nick Diaz, that's a scary man.
I follow him on Instagram. He's crazy.
He is crazy. He's
a legit crazy person.
I remember
he just smokes loads of weed, goes on bike rides.
Did they not swim to Alcatraz? Is that not better? Like he's training. He breaststrokes to Alcatraz and back.
Oh, it could be. Same triathlete, isn't he?
I'm sure Joe Rogan said that about him once. That's when he's training things. He breaststrokes to Alcatraz, shark infested water. That was who?
He is a.
He's a crazy person. He really is.
He is.
He's a great fighter.
Oh, absolutely. He's phenomenal. Because he's rumoured to be coming back this year as well, this year or next year.
I've seen that.
If they want a fight, I think I know a man. I know a guy.
Oh, come away from it.
Yeah, let's make it happen.
Nate beat Conor. Nick would kill Conor. Come on.
But it would blow the roof off the place.
It would be a huge pay-per-view.
It
would be a huge pay-per-view attraction, but I don't think that'd be a very competitive fight, to be honest with you.
I think with Nick not fighting, how long has it been? About more than 5 years.
Aye, but he never stops training. He's always in shape. Every single day. He's always in like combat-ready condition. He just smokes a hell of a lot of weed.
Aye.
He's just finished like a 14-week diet and training sesh, training camp thing.
I'd like to see that fight. That'd be a huge attraction, but I don't think it'd be very competitive.
They could both sell a fight against me, and it'd be a highwell pay-per-view. Not that good.
I'd pay that. I'd pay that pay-per-view.
I would watch that.
See, you get your ass kicked by some of the best fighters on the planet.
I think after this podcast goes live, it's a high possibility that this will happen. You'll see
somebody's going to battle you after this, I think. It's either going to be Joe Rogan, Conor McGregor, or Brock Lesnar. Now, the best option, I think, would be Conor McGregor, because he's the weakest.
Yeah.
Like Joe Rogan's not that at all, but he's like big built. Conor McGregor's
he can kick as hard as Ngannou can punch. So you don't want that.
He would let it go. I don't imagine Brock Lesnar will let it go.
No. He might actually hold the crap out of you and then take you home.
Make me apologise.
Take you back to his... Yeah. And then his daughter will batter you too. Because you're going to be kept in his mountain cave as a play toy. But not anybody alive can tell about it.
As long as Sable gets a shot of playing, that's fine.
The police won't even come and help you.
You're making it worse.
I know. He's antagonising large men on the internet.
Not the route I would have went down.
No, definitely not the debut show. Not the debut show.
So if I were to go missing,
we've ever seen on the telly,
I would search Brock Lesnar's ranch.
Where even is it though? Like, does anybody even know where his lair is? It's in Canada somewhere, I think.
I think that's part of his trademark. No one knows. So if people like me do go missing, no one can.
No. Somebody knows. If you disappear, we'll need to like tweet Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman knows where he stays.
But whether he tells you or he'll give you quotes.
No, he'll know tells. He'll say something to the effect that you shouldn't have been so stupid, and then just leave it at that.
Aye, that's very true.
You'll never be seen again.
I can almost bet you Brock Lesnar will have seen one of those Google cards for Google Maps and just jaced it.
Hey, he is confused, thinks it's a new rival, Alpha Predator, and guns it and smashes it to bits.
He thinks it's a small rhino and he's just went straight for it.
With his giant honey-baked hams for arms.
He had to get specially made gloves, didn't he?
He did, 5XL gloves. He's got the biggest hands in the history of the UFC. That's awful. If we're not doing that, it's awful.
You could just grab that head of yours, Martin.
And pop it like a walnut.
Just fling you across the room.
He's unfeasibly fast as well. You couldn't outrun him.
I was going to say that as well. It's even I watched him in the WWE a few times, and he ran and jumped over the ropes. And I was like, what the hell just happened?
He'd get you. He definitely.
He's like a grizzly. He is.
He's like a big bear.
He is just like a big hairless bear. Swords tattooed on his chest and axes and skulls and all that mental stuff.
A bear with a crew cut.
He's been rocking that military buzz cut for about 20 years now.
Really cuts it himself.
Probably. Makes that wife it.
He has. He's been rocking it since he's been bicep curling pits of the ring.
I remember that. It was backstage with like the light beam or whatever it was, just bicep curling.
Yeah, it's bicep curling some of the lights.
Where he's just storing there. he was just on there breathing like slavering at the mouth.
With his crazy like
See, that's
floor
like-
peck chest.
Aye, right. You're only supposed to have 2 pecs, but when he
Huh.
flexes, he has 4. I don't know how he does it.
His pecs have pecs.
You think he's the scariest man alive, Brock Lesnar?
Aye.
I
I
kinda
think so,
think,
just because of the mindset as well.
Aye, it's not just that he's big and scary, it's that he only eats things that he kills.
Remember when he was on the Stone Cold podcast and he was talking about
Aye.
bullying because it's on the network? Stone Cold was like, "Oh, so you were bullied when you were younger?" And he goes, "Nah, I was the bully."
know that we're promoting bullying, but you just
No.
imagine being at school with it. Give me your money, all right. Don't eat.
A 9-year-old Brock Lesnar looking the exact same way.
He's still 6'3", still chiseled it on. Yes, I absolutely knew that this whole episode would descend into us just freaking out about Brock Lesnar.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
we knew Martin was going to bring him up because he's might be coming back to the UFC, and then this would spiral off a cliff. And we just talked about how scary he is for him.
Aye.
We've already talked about Bob Sapp.
I know.
Spoke about Brock Lesnar like 3 different times.
There will be another 3.
He will come up into conversation at some point.
That's going to be a recurring theme, I think.
Oh,
No matter, like, as future episodes, no matter what we talk about, it's going to come back to Brock Lesnar.
Oh, yeah. I think so.
Most things do.
What were
Just-
we even talking about before that? I can't remember.
What were we talking about? We were talking about Martin
Nick
getting
Diaz.
battered by Conor McGregor and Nick Diaz.
It was Nick Diaz and then Conor McGregor coming to kill you.
Aye.
We kind of put ourselves in bad situations when we think of
What do you
these,
mean?
don't we?
What do you mean we? I haven't said nothing bad about it. It's you he's going to get, not
It's
me.
all Mark.
Yeah. I've been nothing but respectful. Anyway,
Yeah.
and,
If Brock Lesnar told me to buy a sack of his potatoes, I would.
hey, they're probably quite nice. Fresh potatoes at the ground.
2 minutes. 2 minutes. Jesus.
Oh, what you done?
It's something.
It's been tweeted by Brock Lesnar.
Oh, Jesus. Did he even have to?
It's something I seen. It was Brock Lesnar's daughter makes her WWE debut.
Oh, God.
Oh, for Christ's sake.
Please stop this, because we're going to be guilty by association. And I haven't done all the things I wanted to achieve in life yet. I don't
Brock,
want
I
this.
genuinely don't know where he lives.
Uh,
I don't have his
Please.
address.
please watch this back, Mr. Lesnar, and see that it's
Mr. Lesnar.
it's that one there in the Celtic tats taking the piss.
See the one that says lube on it? That's the one you want.
Kill him. Leave the rest is. We'll hire somebody to replace you. That'll be fine.
Could just be Brock Lesnar sitting here.
That was so uncomfortable. The camera would be right up at his massive head as he's just sitting breathing, staring at the camera. With that bright purple light that he goes. That'd be so terrifying. You'd be feared to say anything. Because he started screaming at you.
I know. I was going to say, you'd say hello, you just scream.
Wouldn't it be funny if he was a really nice person? In between all that, like, the fact that he's massive and terrifying. Right, we should move on. This has been like 20 minutes of just us talking about Brock Lesnar. This should move on.
Aye.
Right, let's talk about wrestling with Brock Lesnar in it.
Wrestling. Yeah.
Wrestling.
I like it. This has followed no format at all. You asked like 40 minutes ago who you think is going to win the Premier League, and now we're just.
The Arsenal game's on in the background right now. They're up 1-0 against Fulham. Sorry, it was Lacazette that scored. So who do you think is going to win the Premier League? He's got one choice.
Chelsea.
We're not going 5 choices like Scott. So we've got Chelsea.
Chelsea. You're taking your
How
time.
can I not keep my 5 choices?
Hedging your bets.
Yeah, that's what I do on the bookies. Put on everyone to win. Someone's going to win.
I'm a terrible gambler, but that last World Cup I put £20 on Iceland to win, just because I like Iceland. They got humped in every game they were in. I got all excited because they put England out of Euro, and that was great. And like I've been there on holiday, and I thought it was lovely. So I thought, wouldn't it be nice if Iceland won the World Cup? But I put money on Iceland, but they get shouted in every game they were in. It's a complete waste of
sound strategy, but
no, it's a complete waste of money. But I figured if by crook miracle they win, I'm going to be a millionaire. So
fair enough. So
if I'm being honest, it's probably Man City, isn't it? They're probably going to win it.
That's what I'm thinking. Man City. I just think winning the title is one thing, but retaining it's very rare. And
especially since we've not signed anyone. Well, we've signed Tsimikas from Olympiacos.
Oh, the left back.
Aye. But
who's not going to get a game because you've got Andy Robertson.
Yeah. And we're arguing over like a couple of million for Thiago, and we don't know what's happening with Wijnaldum, and we've not bought anyone to back up the front three.
No.
It's basically the same team as like late 2017.
But it's that way as well. I really think we should have went out and should have signed Werner, because Werner was 50 million for a striker that scores that amount of goals that can also play both wide positions.
Yeah,
it seemed a no-brainer, and then we fucked about with it too much. And now he's at Chelsea.
The rumour about that one was that Klopp had asked Werner to wait a week or two till he raised the funds or something, and Werner said, "No, fuck that," and went to Chelsea.
Yeah.
Fair enough, man. I can understand. You don't want to wait in football.
No,
I think he had so long left of that release clause on his contract.
Yeah, I think it ended in like
stupid money.
April or something.
Yeah,
March, April time, and then by the time, because we've still not signed anyone really. We sold Lovren to buy in Tsimikas. It's basically the same price.
Yeah.
If we're getting paid more at Chelsea as well. Chelsea will probably pay higher wages than Liverpool would.
The wage structure at Liverpool is like you get put here and then you can earn your way up rather than.
To be fair, that's a better situation than the wage structure at Man United, where if you cut one really cool promo playing a piano, you get paid millions and millions.
Did you see what Sanchez said? First training session at United, I was like, can I go back to Arsenal?
Did you see Raphael's comments on that? Our old right back, Raphael. He said, maybe he saw a ghost. It was brilliant. But that's how it works at Man United. You cut one really sweet promo, you playing a piano, and you get paid a fortune. So,
because look at Jesse Lingard. He just needs to do a couple of dances, and
I hate him.
Best under 21 talent.
It's 28.
It's 28. He's always going to be 21.
He's been England's next big attacking midfielder for 10 years now.
Aye.
When did he bring on the scene,
an
really?
attacking midfielder, couldn't they?
2015?
Aye.
2015. So
he'd been in the academy before that.
5. He's like 23, 25, something like that.
I mean, he doesn't look like an old man. He looks quite ageless. He's got a youthful face.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
And he acts really young as well.
All he does is dance.
Yeah, he's 18 years old.
I'm very much of that like Roy Keane school of behaviour. Just sit there and look angry. Don't dance. Don't look happy. Unless you've earned it. Which Jesse Lingard has not earned. So me and Roy Keane are of one mind on all this sort of stuff.
Did Jesse Lingard not only score like one goal?
One goal.
Zero assists.
Last season, it was in the last game.
Yeah.
Last game of the season, 1 goal in a year and a half or something.
Someone had a bet to say that you wouldn't get any goals and no assists, and then he went and won.
It's like the last minute or something, isn't
it? That should have been a safer bet than my Iceland World Cup game, but he ruined it at the last minute. Oh, he's terrible. I don't like him. I mean, he's obviously a better football player than me. Because some do see this and go, what do you know? You're just a big fat bald guy. That's true. But Jesse Lingard's a professional football player. He should be better.
So, that's true.
He's meant to be in his prime.
No, but Man United have got so much dead weight that there's got to be a cull. You know that way, like in Australia, if a shark eats somebody, the government culls all the sharks. There should be a cull at Man United. Sell Pogba to Paris so he can go and dance and make fashion or whatever he wants to do.
Yeah.
He's not interested in kicking a ball at Old Trafford, that's a fact.
Oh.
He shows glimpses. He'll never need to work again.
No, he'll be rich.
Nah.
I think I would sell half that team. Whenever I start a new career mode in FIFA, sell half the squad. Like I bring Smalling back off loan to sell him just because
Right. That's the level of pettiness I like.
bring him back to sell him.
Oh, God.
And quite genuinely, back to a comment I made earlier, my two centre backs are Rojo and Bailly, quite genuinely.
Mm-hmm.
So I maybe take a 48 the next time I'm playing FIFA.
Like, who would you even bring in? 'Cause who did you bring in? Van de Beek?
Van de Beek,
That's a cracking signing, man.
That's a
That
good
is
signing.
so good.
for 30 something million. That's
Aye.
a great piece of business.
Mm-hmm.
Aye, he's great.
Who would I bring in? They're talking about Upamecano. So I mean, I know I like Rojo, but realistically, he's not going to be a first team player. So you need to sign a new centre back.
Upamecano not just signed a new contract at Leipzig?
He did, but I think he's got a release clause in there or something. It's being linked.
Is he not heavily linked with Man City as well?
Aye, but I think they're more interested in Koulibaly. So the paper says.
Aye. I've seen a lot about Koulibaly, to be fair. Which,
well, Man City is just basically trying to build Ultimate Team, aren't they?
Aye.
FIFA.
And he fits in with Guardiola's philosophy of spending hundreds of millions of pounds on defenders that nobody's ever heard of. It doesn't work for him. I mean, folk know Koulibaly, but like some of the other players.
It's something like Pep Guardiola has spent more on his defence than Klopp has spent on his all tenure.
The defence is shocking. Like, it's
a terrible defence.
Aye.
Says the Man United fan. The defence is bad. So I don't know who we buy. I mean, Van de Beek is a good start. They still want Jadon Sancho, which I'm not convinced of, as you know. 100 million for a teenager for Dortmund, I think is insane. But I mean, if they can haggle and get a better price, and he's better than Lingard. I mean, better than Dan James. So, but it's just that because I think there's a trend happening now where the big clubs buy young teenagers for abroad for millions and they don't ever work out. Like Barcelona bought Dembele for 90 million or whatever it was. He's been shite. Atletico bought that wild Felix boy for 100 whatever million. And he was shite. Mbappe's the only one that's worked out. Mbappe went for a crazy amount of money and he's done really, really well.
How much was he? Like 150 million?
Something like
Monaco.
That. Something like that. It was a season-long loan and then 100 and something million after it. But he's done really well. So,
that was because he signed Neymar that season as well. But
222 million euros.
I had to loan him to avoid financial fair play restrictions, which is kind of defeating the purpose, isn't it?
222 million for a guy that does nothing but roll about in the ground.
That's
a waste of money.
Like, I know they want to win the Champions League, but he costs more than what you get for winning the Champions League.
And they've
got
like
150,
28, 29 now.
Something like that. Right?
Yeah, he's getting on.
Because I thought his reasoning for leaving PSG was he wanted to win the Ballon d'Or, and he wouldn't have done that at Barcelona because you're obviously second place to Messi. So I thought if he went away, might have boosted his career a lot more. But I don't think it has worked for him the way.
It seemed like that was a mistake on his bit because if the last 10 years is anything to go by, the only way to win the Ballon d'Or is to score 70 goals a season. Unless you look at Modric, of course. I mean, he got it. But other than that, it's not been about who's been the best player, I would say. It's about who scores the most out of Ronaldo and Messi. So he's wasting his time. And he's never going to score 60 or 70 goals a season. Well, he might in France because it's a crap league. The Ballon d'Or needs changing, I think.
I think it's like obviously Messi and Ronaldo are the best players on the planet, but like for what Van Dijk did last season, I think he should have had a better show.
I think they're the two best goal scorers on the planet. I don't think they're the two most complete players. I've been saying that for a while. I think it's like judging who the best player in the world is hard because it's all these different positions. So if you're just saying the guy that scores 70 goals a season is the best player in the world, it takes away from the other positions that don't do that but have a more intricate impact in the game. And an example I always like to use is Chris Boyd, right? He's the highest scorer in the history of the Scottish Premier League. Would anybody say he was the best player? No. He just scored the most goals. I mean, I'm not saying that Messi or Ronaldo were bad or overrated or anything, because then that'd be stupid. They're both amazing. You see everything they can do with a ball is great. But I think the fact that they two are just passing about the Ballon d'Or between them is ridiculous. Because Van Dijk, I hate the man, obviously, you know that, but he had a great season. Kevin De Bruyne has been, in my opinion, the best complete fit player in the world for the last 3 years. And he's never got a look in. I think he does things with a fit that nobody else can do. He's 70-yard passes without looking. Messi and Ronaldo don't do stuff like that. But it's positional because they're up front. They don't need to do that sort of thing. But I just think there's this opinion now that whoever scores the most goals is automatically the best player, and it's not true. Because there's more nuance to being in the midfield or the defence or something than there is to being up front.
Mm-hmm. All right. That's tough. It's a tough one.
Yeah. And they're both getting old now, so who's going to take the Ballon d'Or after?
Because Ronaldo's like 35.
Aye.
Like they're a lot older than we think they are. Messi's 33.
33, yeah.
Ronaldo's still smashing all these fitness records.
He's a freak. He's
a freak of nature.
He's an absolutely amazing athlete.
I think that's what makes them so good, because their peak, like some people peak for like a couple of years, some people peak for 2 or 3 years. We've seen it before with like the likes of Kaká, whereas these guys, their peak has been what, 10 years? More than 10 years, because 10 years would have took us back to 2010, and Messi and Ronaldo have been smashing it since about 2008. So a peak of like 12 years.
Yeah. It's 2008, isn't it? It's 2008 Ronaldo won his first one, and then was it Cannavaro won in 2009, which is amazing.
I think Cannavaro won 2007 because of the
was it 2007?
World Cup.
So it was 2000, that was something different. Was that Kaká?
I think that was
Kaká. That might be Kaká.
Right.
Yeah, because Kaká was the last one before Modric was that big block of just Messi, Ronaldo, Ronaldo.
That was nice to see. I don't know why they gave that to Modric, but it was nice. I mean, it was an excellent player, but it was still
like
cool.
He did well in the World Cup, but didn't win it.
No, he didn't. That was quite a strange tournament altogether, that World Cup.
Yeah.
I'm surprised France won, to be honest. Mm-hmm. They played better than everybody else. We were sitting nervous because England was in the semi-final.
They beat nobody.
I know.
They beat absolutely nobody. The first time they came up against someone was Colombia, and they had to go to penalties. I know.
Now we should make clear that we are support English teams, so we're not like anti-English as such. Just the English national team, they annoy everybody.
Yeah.
So I feel like we should clarify that.
And Scott sounds English, so he's like halfway there.
You do sound kind of English.
Yeah. I know. It's a weird accent. It's like a mixture of some Scottish words, some Scouse words. It's just kind of all over the place. I hate my accent. Like the way I say certain words, like bucket, it sounds different to how people say it. Or boss.
Boss.
Yeah.
Boss. So has anyone been watching the Scottish Premiership? Let's go into real football now.
No.
Nah. I've seen Rangers have been winning and having a draw.
I don't think there's any point in watching it, because you know what's going to happen. Celtic are going to win the league. They win the league every year.
That's good.
That's good for Celtic.
It's good for
been, what, 9 years?
For a man such as Celtic.
10 in a row this year, something which has never been done. So it's an exciting time to be a fan of Scottish football, and I think the league in a whole's looking pretty good this year. Aberdeen are looking pretty good. Like they started shocking against Rangers. Obviously they had all the COVID outbursts where half their players get infected.
Yeah.
Ever going to the pub?
Aye. They've came back. They've came back, and since they've came back for like the couple of games out, because they weren't allowed to play a couple of games, which I thought was a bit strange, because like only a certain amount of their team had tested positive, and we've seen it with Greece. We've seen it with St Mirren this weekend, that players can test positive, but the team still carries on. But no, they were like, nah, you can't play. Like, this is your punishment. You don't need to play the game with a weakened squad. It was the same as Celtic, because one of our players, he absconded to Spain for the day. Day trip to.
I did read about that. He buggered off for a beach day in Spain.
Aye, and then he
quarantine.
back and played.
That's not even the best quarantine being broken story by football players, though. It's my man Mason Greenwood and Phil Foden up in Iceland. They bring Icelandic birds back to the hotel.
Did you see the
It's no
video of
fault,
that?
not
Like, I'm
him.
talking
Aye.
on the phone. It's really funny because I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's Mason Greenwood. He's in the back, or Phil Foden, whatever one. He's in the background and like talking about going to the hotel room, and then he's at what they come into the hotel room for. And you can just hear the other one going, "What do you think?" And then the last, "Yeah, what do you think?" And he's at, "Oh."
Now, I know Phil Foden's married and got children, but I've been to Iceland on holiday a few times, and without being crass, they women are like a step up for what Greenwood and Foden will be used to looking at on a daily basis. I mean, I'm happy for them. I think I'm quite proud of Greenwood because he's an academy player for United. He's a young man. He's
his way up to it.
He's playing for Man United. He's playing for England. He's a young man with a lot of money, and I'm really happy for him. So I hope he had a good time. And Gareth Southgate can just shut up, personally. Because looking like Gareth Southgate, he's not got to deal with temptation. So he can sit there on his high horse going, I would never do that because he's stupid waistcoat that he wears. But I'm quite happy. I'm proud of Mason Greenwood. I actually tweeted him saying, my man, with like a wee high five thing. And he never responded to me. So. I think he's got to pretend.
He'll respond at some point.
I will. I think he's got to pretend that he's sad and he regrets it, but he definitely wouldn't have, because it would have been amazing.
Definitely would have.
So, what else do we talk about? It always wants like movies, TV,
games,
gaming, books.
It's been a big year for gaming.
It has.
For gaming because everybody's been stuck inside.
Mm-hmm.
And, like you've got nothing better to do than sit and game all day.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I've been absolutely sweating that Call of Duty Warzone, and
you've been sweating that for months.
I know it's been absolutely great, but I've kind of went off it a wee bit recently. I've not been playing it for the last month or two. It's just there's only so many bad words you can shout at your telly after
Mate, I feel that on a really deep level because just 3 days ago I completed Doom Eternal again on a higher difficulty, and I thought it was going to be the death of me. It's ridiculous. The game is so goddamn hard. It's awful. And I was playing it, like I completed it when it came out, and I got it the day it was released. And I played through it on just like the standard difficulty because I grew up playing the old Doom games and I know how hard it's going to be, so I thought I'd ease myself in. So I just completed it again on the tier above difficulty, and it was insane. It's no fair, actually. It seemed to me like the people that made the game don't want you to succeed. The amount of just stuff they send at you, it's no fair. If you've never played it, you don't understand what I'm talking about. But anybody that's seen this or watches this has played Doom Eternal will know what I'm saying. It's awful. That's why I went bald. I had a full head of hair 4 months ago, and then my hair fell out. Stress.
Locks.
I had longer hair than Scott, and my hair. Doom Eternal made me put all my hair.
Because we all play the PlayStation. Do any of you have the VR?
No.
Oh, the VR is great. We used to have one at work, and like this, it felt so real. Like because it was like a kids, like for kids that we were using it with. It was just like kids games, and one of them is essentially you're like Godzilla, and you're going about and you have to like smash up this whole town. So how you smash it is like you swing your head about and stuff, and like stuff's coming at you, but you feel yourself like putting your hands out, you touch things. And one of my pals, he was saying that he's got one in the house, and he downloaded Resident Evil for it.
Oh Jesus
Christ!
God.
And he said he shit himself because there was one point like facing one way, and it's like turn round, and for anyone that doesn't know virtual reality, it's essentially you're there. So imagine The Walking Dead but in real life, right? That's what Resident Evil would feel like. And he said you just have to turn round because it's like 3D, it's like all around you as well. So let's see if you move your head to that side, you can kind of see behind you. So it works off like your eye vision. It is insanely good, like the way technology has advanced. And then he's like, it tells you to turn round. So he turned round, and it was like a big zombie guy with a chainsaw just about to charge at him, and he said he screamed.
I believe it. I haven't played Resident Evil since I was, 12. I'm older than the two of you by a few years. So I remember when Resident Evil 2 came out, right? So I got a copy for my old Windows 98 back in the day. And there's a bit at the start But anybody else that's played it will know what I'm talking about. There's a bit not long after the game starts where you go into like a gun shop to buy guns, and there's a big window at the front of the gun shop, right? And the wee guy that runs the shop is telling you, all right, come in, take all the guns, there's zombies everywhere, or whatever he says. And then all these zombies pile through the window and rip this fucking guy to pieces, right? And when I was that age, I was still living with my mum and dad, obviously. So my bedroom at the time was on the ground floor, and it had a big huge window at the foot of my bed that looked exactly like the window for that game. So every night I just lie there staring at that window thinking, oh Jesus Christ, these things are going to burst through here and eat me. So I just never played Resident Evil again. And
That's how I go.
I'm 28 now and I haven't played it since. So.
Get it for the VR, that sounds
no,
like
Jesus. No, I don't need that sort of stress in my life, man. That's a bit too much for me.
It'd be fucking terrifying.
Definitely would be terrifying.
What have you been playing?
I get the new UFC game. I get UFC 4.
It's any good?
Nice.
Yeah, the grappling feels a lot better. It feels a lot more realistic because it's more like the way they grab you and the way they take you down, how you defend it is how you would actually defend a takedown. So it's all about your kind of movement as well, rather than just button mashing, which is pretty good. And the strikes seem a lot more fluent.
Yeah.
I liked that they added Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua into the game as well. That's exactly what I was after.
Do you like them, or do you just want to battle them?
I quite like them, and they both seem like they don't want to fight each other in real life. So that's the closest we'll get is in game, because apparently the best boxers in the world don't want to fight the best boxers in the world. That's just what boxing's become. It's more like you'd rather beat Dylan White 6 times.
I'll be honest, I don't watch boxing, so I don't even know who that is.
No, I don't really watch boxing, but from what I've gathered, Anthony Joshua just kind of wants to fight the easy fights. Just get paid, go to Wembley or Saudi Arabia and get paid loads of money.
I think the issue with boxing is similar to what's plagued it for a while. I think it's more the promoters rather than the fighters, because they all seem like they want to fight each other, but with promoters, they've got cash cows.
Yeah.
So which was ridiculous, because you had 3 guys undefeated at the top of the heavyweight division for about 3 years. Well, how can you have 3 guys at the top undefeated? It means that they've not fought each other. They should have done a Vince McMahon and put them in a cage, or 3 of them in a cage.
Oh yeah.
It's at the end of the day, you're fighting for legacy. So you can be undefeated for as long as you want, but if you've not fought the best guys, folk will pick up on that.
Aye, it's like a blot in your record, isn't it?
Aye, because you can.
It's the way some
guy can't say undefeated fighter. Hamilton goes after it.
There's far too much emphasis put on being undefeated, but as well, and we've got that from Floyd Mayweather, because he went 50 fights undefeated. So everyone thinks if they want to be better than Floyd Mayweather, they need to be undefeated.
It should be 51 because he beat the Big Show at WrestleMania.
But the Big Show was going to kill him.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
He broke his nose, didn't he?
He did, aye. Imagine being chased to the Big Show.
You put in the contract, like, the Big Show can't slam me, he can't punch me, he can't injure me, he can't do this, that, and the other. So the Big Show's just kind of running around and waiting to be punched.
In Floyd's defence, he's 5'5" and 90 pounds. However, he's tiny. Big Show's huge. I would have a
legit 500-pound at the time.
7 feet tall, whatever fucking height he is. Nah.
He looks good now, but the Big Show is like
Show. He does. He's got the bald head and the beard. He's been stealing my luck.
He's got abs. The Big Show with abs.
He's got the
That's
abs.
Ridiculous. So it dropped 80 pounds.
And he's still 300 something pound. But you're right about fighters fighting for legacy and how it's like a blot on the record. Some MMA fans to this day still dismiss Fedor because he never fought in the UFC. Being an old school Pride fan, I've always been annoyed by that argument because Pride was better.
Back then, Pride was better, and that's it. Were they expecting him to come in when he was past his prime and
then take a beating?
And that's
right enough. He still fights, doesn't he? So,
I think he's just retired a couple of months ago.
Right.
But that's what they were saying. They're like, he lost too many fights near the end of his career to be the best ever. And you're like, but he had to keep fighting Because when he was huge in MMA, there wasn't that much money in MMA. Let's see now. But now, folk like Conor McGregor, they're getting crazy amounts of money to fight, and they're now set up for life. Whereas back then, there was folk fought because they liked to fight, because they were gladiators.
You're right. To this day, still remember the Pride. It was good. The final conflict was the event at Pride 2005. It was Fedor v Crow Cop for the first time, and it felt like the biggest thing in the fucking world at the time. As me and all my pals, we got together to watch it. Yeah, it felt like the biggest thing at the time, like Fedor versus Crow Cop. There wasn't a bigger fight in the world at that time. And if you go back and watch the highlights, like it's that Tokyo Dome, whatever the arena is, you get like 100,000 people in it or whatever, and everybody's gone everybody's gone insane. It still feels like the biggest fight of all time whenever you go back and watch it, and it was great. Because my pal I watched it with Darren. He was a huge Fedor fan, and I was a huge Crow Cop fan. So like I wanted Crow Cop to win, but he didn't. It was close though. It was close. It was like a really, really good fight. It's still the fight odds up to this day. You can see it on YouTube. I think it was a great fight.
Yeah. Fedor always gave you a good fight. His fight with Kevin Randleman.
Oh,
he get dumped in his head.
He slams. Randleman slams him right on his neck, and his entire body just like folds in the way, and then he gets up and wins. He was an animal. I think folk that don't watch it now, that didn't watch Pride and stuff back in that sort of time, I don't think will understand the mystique that came with Fedor. Because not only did he beat everybody that he fought, he really beat them. Like he beat Minotauro Nogueira 3 times, and that just didn't happen. That never happened to Big Nog back in the day. He was one of the best in the world.
And it was that way as well. Like, I think the language barrier that he had added to the whole character, because he wasn't talking. He'd speak like one word.
He felt like a villain in a film.
That's exactly what it was like. It was like Ivan Drago.
He didn't speak. He had these dead, emotionless eyes. He just looked when you go back and watch like highlights, he's like the stare-downs before the fight. The other guy would be trying to look really intense and angry, and Fedor would look through them the way a lion looked at a zebra, like as if they weren't even there. He just would this dead expression, like you would expect a hitman to have, as if there was nobody there. And I thought that was really terrifying. Like you don't mean anything to this guy.
Well,
he's just gone to hurt you.
He was a legit killer, and I think a lot of people now that didn't see him in his prime and didn't experience everything around him will dismiss him like that, because they'll look at someone like Khabib's record and go, "Oh, Khabib's never lost a fight," and it's like Khabib's only fought like a couple of real high level guys. Like Fedor made a career out of beating the highest level guys.
Fedor beat Minotauro Nogueira 3 times. He beat Mirko Crow Cop in his prime, which was almost unheard of. He beat Kevin Randleman, Heath Herring, who was a big deal back at the time.
Aye, Heath Herring.
He beat the shit out of Heath Herring.
Aye.
He
was a monster.
He mangled Tim Sylvia as well. Remember Tim Sylvia crossed over into Affliction? That fight lasted 30-something seconds. Tim Sylvia was 6'8" and whatever weight he was, former heavyweight champion of the world in the UFC. And Fedor, it was 33 seconds, I think, the fight lasted. He smashed him. It was bad, difficult to watch.
He definitely needs to be in that conversation for the GOAT.
I would think so. Aye.
For the people he beat and at his prime, because I think that's how we should look at the greatest of all time, is in their prime.
Aye. It was how effortless he made everything appear.
Yeah.
And you used the word a minute ago, it was experience. That you had to be there to experience it. Watching Fedor was an experience. Because you had the entire build up, the mystique. The man doesn't speak English. He's never been beaten in his life. And not only does he win, but he wins terribly convincingly. Like there was never, that decision shouldn't have went his way or whatever. And any of his fights ever went to a decision, I don't remember. He just beat the ever-loving fuck out of everybody that he fought. It was really scary. It was an experience. That's the best way to describe it.
Because I feel like that's kind of the same way when you were watching McGregor coming up. Because he dragged the UFC into this new age of fans, which is it's a positive because there's more eyes on the sport, but a lot of the opinions now about the sport's a bit negative, and we'd probably get him to blame. But he would captivise people that were not interested in MMA at all.
Aye.
He brought so many eyes, and he just brought like a whole wave of people with him. Like it was a sea of tricolours when you looked into the arena, and it was just, it was like crazy. And he was winning in devastating fashion.
He was. I remember there was his earliest, like when he was just making his way up to being the champion. He was knocking everybody out. Like he knocked Aldo out in, what was it, 15 seconds or whatever it was.
Aye, knocked Aldo with like 2 punches, and Aldo was a fucking beast. A legit beast.
Was he undefeated before then or something?
I think he was.
He lost like 1 or 2 fights. He got beat off Joe Duffy. Joe Duffy beat him Cage Warriors.
Aldo undefeated before that.
Aldo was undefeated for about 15 years, I think.
Jesus
Christ. Oh my God.
That was stemming back to the WEC days.
Oh, aye. I remember that.
Because he was like the pioneer of the featherweight division, Aldo. He was like their only champion before McGregor.
And
then I think McGregor brought in another side of the crowd, and all the people like me that hated him and wanted to see him getting like battered.
That's it. Cause a lot of people don't like cockiness. They don't like kind of arrogance, which he had. Like he was very, which I think played into how well he done.
Right, there was sort of like Muhammad Ali, wasn't it? Like the fight was almost secondary to the build-up because he would spend months just harassing whoever it was he was going to fight and talking this insane amount of shit.
He was the best wrestling heel for quite a few years.
What he done to Jose Aldo was borderline bullying. Like, just used to follow him about.
It was abuse.
Aldo was in doing a radio show at one point, and he was like in it, see like the wee booths that they have, and like McGregor's at the glass. He's up trapped the glass, and he's got his belt in his hand, and he's like giving him the finger. And like McGregor's not supposed to be there.
He's just to
follow him about and terrorise the life out of him.
Which I thought was the best thing about the first Nate Connor fight, because Connor was trying all that stuff and Nate didn't care. I just thought it was hilarious. He's sitting there, Connor was saying, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and Nate just picked up the microphone and went, I don't give a fuck, and put the microphone back down. That was like the end of it.
I think that's it. Like Nate Diaz is a legit gangster.
Yes,
Shingy as that sounds, like he does not give a fuck.
No, he doesn't.
If that was inside the octagon or outside, him and Connor were fighting. Like,
he was going to get him. That was the gist.
There was no. But a lot of people kind of undervalued Nate Diaz as well getting into that fight and thought it was a way to slag Connor getting beat off him. And it's like, no. But this guy, he's a high level boxer and he's a Gracie Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. Aye.
And a genuine hard son of a bitch. Yeah.
Aye, and he's a triathlete as well, so his endurance is absolutely off the charts.
I always thought Nate was going to win that. I think I was mean somebody else would keep talking about it all throughout the build-up. I just kept saying, I think Nate's going to slap the shit out of him. And he did. So.
The Connor hype train was pretty powerful at that point as well.
Aye,
so
that's when he was untouchable. That was when he was untouchable, wasn't it? Connor could do anything.
Because he took that fight at short notice as well, both of them.
Aye, he was a replacement for somebody, wasn't he?
Aye, he was supposed to be fighting Rafael dos Anjos, I'm sure.
That's it.
Aye, and then he pulled out.
He broke his toes or something.
Aye.
Dropped a wrench on one of his feet or something stupid like that. I can't remember what it was.
That was at Aldo. He pulled out the first fight with a bruised rib.
That's a funny injury. How do you even bruise a rib?
How does that happen? Kick.
Right.
From what I gather, because I was watching the Notorious, and it showcases it all in that. That's just essentially he was doing a documentary when he first started it. So he just had like a camera crew following him about in case he gets massive. But getting into that fight, I think he'd done something to his knee as well, Connor. I can't remember what it was. I don't want to say in case I'm wrong. But then he took the Mendes fight.
I remember that. They get folk were singing them down to the cage.
Sinead O'Connor.
Sinead O'Connor. And Mendes had some country singer.
Aye, that was great.
That was quite good. That's what I would do if I was like a high level like cage fighter. I'd get like Slayer or something to come out and play me to the ring, try and scare everybody.
I always thought Enter Sandman would be a great song to come into. See, like the drums. See if you'd like a bunch of hooded guys, like doom, 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 doom. I was like, that'd be terrifying. I can imagine like a big Russian coming in.
I'm honestly just surprised you know that song, to be honest.
Enter Sandman.
It's a good song, man.
Of course it's a good song. It's Metallica. They don't have bad songs. Come on. This band.
But no, UFC have definitely went pretty WWE in recent years.
Aye, absolutely.
They're the biggest wrestling promotion on the planet.
Yeah.
And then a lot of them, when they decide to stop fighting, can go to WWE and make a fortune, like Ronda Rousey.
Oh, yeah.
She went to
And then
WWE.
say, oh, yeah, but it's all fake fights. I was just having fun with the girls.
Yeah. Nia Jax wants to kill her now.
I know.
That's the fight they should promote. I would love to see that. I don't know if Nia Jax can actually fight, but she's quite a big woman. She's quite tall.
Yeah,
She's
like
huge. She's
6'3".
got Mark Henry.
She's like, now you're insulting Nia Jax. What the hell? Nia Jax is going to kill you now, too.
I know.
Nia Jax would kick the fuck out of you, man.
Nia Henry.
I think she's Nia Henry. Come out to Mark Henry's theme music. Somebody's gonna get the ass kicked.
With the dreadlocks dripped in water. I used to think he was the sweatiest man alive.
It might have been. That might have just been.
Yeah,
that to
you're
cover
right.
up,
He was
so.
massive. Like, he was strong as an ox, but he was pretty big. He was a fat
How?
boy.
How cool was his entrance though? Like, he'd come out to that music and the camera would pan up a bit behind him, so you could just see how thick his back was.
Yeah.
He's this never-ending back. It was massive.
Aye, because do you not remember when he first came back to the WWE? When he came in and ripped the cage door off and just battered Batista.
Yeah.
And like Batista was huge as well, and he absolutely mauled him.
I loved it.
Wasn't there something about that, though, that was like, oh, yeah, good going on gimmicking the cage door? And they went, oh, I forgot to do it. And then Mark Henry just ripped the door.
I think
was that no Kane? They did that with Kane in the Hell in the Cell. It came out lately that I seen Kane did Mayor Kane did an interview, and it was him when he debuted in Hell in the Cell. Mind he put the cage door off and led up the Undertaker.
Yeah.
Apparently that cage door wasn't gimmicked either. Kane just ripped a door off the cage. Remember Kane in the 90s when he was
enormous? He was massive.
He just had that one arm out.
Yeah, the one free arm to show how jacked he was.
The biggest arm you've ever seen in your life.
He's not a politician, isn't he?
He's a mayor in Knoxville, Tennessee. Mayor Kane. It's a thing.
Right.
Yeah, he's the mayor in Knoxville.
Mayor Kane.
For the Republican Party, which is amazing. It's Mayor Kane.
Just
Because he's genuinely huge. He's like 6'10" or something. So
I know.
Imagine trying to have a political debate with it. He's just giant guy.
I saw it on Twitter all the time, him just having barbecues in the local area.
Ooh.
My man likes a barbecue.
Who doesn't love a barbecue, though?
The only good thing about the summer.
For anyone at home wondering what that facial expression was about, Aubameyang just scored an absolute screamer to send Arsenal 3-0 up
Ooh.
at the start of the Premier League season.
That was a good goal.
It was fantastic. That was seriously good. That outball was great.
Am I the only one here that's not got the telly on in the background?
I think so.
I think so, yeah.
I'm sitting at my desk in my office trying to be professional here. You're sitting watching the football.
I'm sitting in my living room
with
Buddha's behind me.
What's even behind? There's nothing behind me. Just my couch.
You wouldn't be really seeing your camera anyway.
No.
My Camp Crystal Lake sign up in the background. Because
My camera might as well not be on. It's as if I smudged the camera.
Yes.
It's fine. It'll be fine.
It's all going to be all right.
It's like that meme with the dog and everything's on fire. This is fine. So that's what Mark's been playing. What have you been playing? Doom?
Doom, and every night I've got this worrying new trend where every night for about 3 hours leading up to bedtime, I've been playing the Friday the 13th game. Every night for about 2 months. And I'm starting to hear Mrs. Voorhees' voice in my head telling me that I'm a good boy enough to kill for money. So that's kind of worrying. If anybody's never played it, right, like everybody knows what Friday the 13th or should know, I suppose. It's 2020 and people only so bright. So maybe they don't know what Friday the 13th is. But anyway, the Friday the 13th game is like a survival game where each map lasts 20 minutes long and you either spawn in as a camp counselor that's got to survive for 20 minutes, or you spawn in as Jason Voorhees, the serial killer, and you've got to kill everybody within 20 minutes. So, I mean, if you're Jason, it's great fun because you're running about killing these women in bikinis and things, just like in the films, it's great. But if you're one of the councillors, it's a thoroughly horrifying experience because she's like skulking about Camp Crystal Lake in the rain, trying not to be detected by an unkillable killer. So it's terrifying. It's either really fun or it's terrifying. There's no in between. So you play online with like other real human beings that are also councillors. You go to work together to like fix the cars and drive away or phone the police or something. But it's great fun, and this will come up in future videos when I do it, but I'm like obsessed with the Friday the 13th franchise. It's one of the only two things I really care about in life is that and Doom. That's really all I've got. And that's really all I care about. Everything else can come and go. I mean, that's me. I've been playing nothing but Doom and Friday the 13th, and I might be going insane. So there's that. So what, Scott, you've been playing something friendlier than that, Scott, or is it just FIFA?
There's a bit of murder in it. I've been playing the Avengers game, and yeah, it's okay. I give it a solid 6.5 out of 10. But I was really hyped for it. But it's just okay. Like, you can switch between characters, but there's loads of like menu problems. Like, you can't fast travel to loads of different locations. You need to like click it to online or like multiplayer to travel between places. Oh, it's ridiculous. But it's fun. But like the story's pretty short. So it wasn't worth the 50 quid I paid for it.
Is it not just the same story as every Marvel film ever, in that some psycho tries to take over the Earth and you've got to protect them?
Pretty much, but this guy's got a massive head.
So that's the only difference. It's the same basic formula, only this guy has a massive head.
Yeah, he's like a telepath, like called Mode or something like that.
Right.
Like it's all right. It's not bad. I wouldn't recommend it. Maybe if it's cheap.
No, it's not that sort of thing.
That and FIFA. That's probably about it.
I was telling you that I got the code for the beta, like to play the closed beta. I think I'd left that too long. It was sitting in my inbox for like last month. It was like the 21st of August or something. I got it sent out, and it was like you've been chosen to play this closed beta. I was like, oh, marvellous, I'll play that. I was going to play it over the weekend, so I was going to put it on last night, and I'd downloaded it, used the code, and everything was fine. And then when I was getting on, it was saying, oh, like, you've not got permission to play this or something. So I presume what's happened is you only have it for like maybe 3 weeks. And then after like a couple of weeks, what am I doing it for? Because it's purely for feedback. Because you can play like career mode, you can play Ultimate Team, you can play online and all that. And I think they're just essentially wanting folk to play it and then give them feedback quickly so they could make changes for the game coming out. Because the game comes out this month, doesn't it?
Is it that time again?
It's either this month or next month,
so they're probably wanting quick feedback, not something taking 4 weeks. So they're probably the betas down.
I'm that like boring dickhead that gets one FIFA game and keeps it for 3 years because they're essentially all the same. I don't want to keep dropping £50 for new shirts. So like I've got FIFA 20. I maybe buy 2022 or 2023. We'll see. We'll see.
But I was quite hyped about playing this 21 because apparently the career mode's got a lot of changes made to it, and it's going to be a lot more kind of realistic and better. Like, it's the most effort they've put into a career mode for years. I know they say that every year, but I was really hoping this year would be their year. But I need to buy the game to find out.
You know why it's better? Because they've obviously read our articles on my website and read Scott's list. Scott made a list of how to make FIFA better. So FIFA is obviously fans. Are they always wired? They read your article.
I've seen they've took a few. They should pay me.
FIFA. You're welcome, FIFA. You're welcome.
Anyone wanting to read Scott's article, if you type in Always Wired Media into Google, you should find it pretty easy. Yeah. You'll go on our website and it'll be under gaming. And you can also read about MMA, you can read about movies, like the top 10 villains.
Villains, mostly.
If you couldn't guess from Blair's demeanour, he's a villains man.
I'm a villain of all
a preview on how Derek Reynolds is one of the best villains of TV. That'd be great.
Dennis Reynolds, and he is. Now, this Always Wired idea just made sense to me because I wanted to write about Lord Humongous for Mad Max 2, and nobody else cares except me. So now everybody knows. And in the most typically right me thing, spoiler for the list, I made Captain Ahab number 1 because that's the most typically right me thing that could possibly have happened.
Oh God. Well, the only other thing I can think to talk about is like, what have you been watching?
To tie in with that list thing, actually, I remember I've been watching this show again called Hell on Wheels. I wrote about it in one of our articles, and it's basically, it came out in 2013, I think. I don't remember. And it's a western set after the end of the Civil War, and it follows this main character that was a Confederate soldier who's now seeking like revenge for his family being murdered. The Unionists murdered his family when he was away at war, and he ends up getting roped into helping build the first like Trans-American Railway, and just everything that goes along with it. It's a really depressing, dark drama set in like the Old West, and it's amazing. And I've been watching it. I've seen it once years ago, and I'm watching it again now, and it's just amazing. Anybody that's never seen it really should watch it.
I've been rewatching South Park when I'm in my bed.
Yeah.
My girlfriend, she hasn't really watched it before, so I've just been getting through.
Hang on, your girlfriend's never seen South Park before?
I don't know, she's lived a very sheltered life.
That's strange.
So I've been going through some of my favourite Cartman episodes with her. she seems to thoroughly enjoy it. She really enjoyed the one where Cartman becomes like a ginger Hitler.
Oh, I watched that one like 3 days ago.
He's like,
Ginger power!
Red power!
Red power.
They're marching through the street after red power! And then he's trying to kill everybody that's not ginger. Until they whisper to him, Cartman, you're not really ginger. And then he completely turns. But we've been watching that, and I've been watching that Sunderland Till I Die.
Oh man, that was great. I love that.
I don't know if any of you have seen it. Well, Scott has, but Blair, it just shows how much a shambles modern day football really is, and how a club the size of Sunderland, who are big, they've got a massive following as well, if run by utter charlatans.
That's a word you don't hear often enough, isn't it?
Oh no.
Charlatan.
You'll hear some fancy words on the Always Wired podcast.
That should be a thing going forward, the Always Wild word of the day. The day, charlatan.
Charlatan.
That's it. Like the guy, it was like a rich guy from like Florida or something called. I can't remember his first name, but his second name is Ellis. And it's just the club's just run from an absolute shambles point of view, because to get relegated for the Premier League, which had been on the cards for so many years, and when they get relegated for the Premier League, it essentially goes, "Fuck yous, I'm not spending any more money." Because you get relegated, you get no money, and then they get a double relegation, and then he's like, "Oh, I'm going to sell the club now," and then sacks Chris Coleman.
I know.
And that infuriated me. It really did.
Because he brought in Coleman, and then he was like, "Oh yeah, you're gonna get back to the transfer market, this, that, and the other." And then he would ask for players, and he would just be like, "Nah, you're not getting him."
Aye, because he was trying to sign Ross McCormick. Because they sold his best striker. The guy who scored like 15 goals and he was on. Actually, I think he was on loan. That guy Bowden that now plays for Nottingham Forest.
Yeah.
And they patched him because I think he fell out with them as well. And the same thing happened the next year as well. But they were gone for promotion for League One up to the Championships, absolutely flying, and then they end up selling that boy Maya.
Yeah, did he not go to like Marseille or something, to France?
Bordeaux.
Bordeaux.
Aye, he went about it very shitely, that boy.
Yeah.
But
then they just don't replace their strikers. They sell the best strikers, and they're like, "Well, we've just been paid, so."
Aye, and it was the guy that took over that is it Stuart Donald or something? His negotiation tactics to get Will Grigg. It was like, what are you doing? Like Jack Ross was the manager. He's now the manager at Hibs. He was the manager at Mirren beforehand. So he gets signed, and he's basically like, this is the guy's price. The guy's price is $2 million. He's not worth any more than that. Don't pay any more. And that Stuart Donald keeps phoning them. He's like a desperate ex-girlfriend trying to get back with him. He's at $2 million. And then they go, no. And he's at 2.1 million. No. 2.1 million. No. They end up paying 3.5 million for Will Grigg.
Who just scored like 3 goals.
Aye.
It's even funnier to imagine them making that negotiation in that thick Scottish accent. 2.1 million. No. So much funnier to imagine.
But no, the manager was like, I don't want Will Greg, especially not for anything more than 2 million max. And he's like, nah, all right, I'll give you some more. No, give you some more.
Oh, you don't want him? There's an extra million.
Yeah.
Because they literally had no other signings with targets. It was just Will Greg or bust.
That was it.
I'm not going to sit here in condemnation at other clubs' transfer policy because Ed Woodward makes all the transfer policy at my club. And as I touched upon earlier, he spent £80 million for a potato with shoes. Yeah. So I'm not going to sit here and criticise anybody else's.
Who's now the lead villain in the new Avengers.
In case nobody's been able to realise for this long rambling, I really don't like Harry Maguire. And if this video ever offends Harry Maguire, go on, fuck off.
No blaming Harry Maguire. I'm going to tonight.
Hey, right. I would fight Harry Maguire. I would fight him.
You just can be the card to me and Brock Lesnar.
That's fine. That is the bigger money fight because Brock Lesnar's a household name. No. It's a no bad checklist for the folk to piss off on the first few. And then you get Brock Lesnar, you get Conor McGregor, you get what was the other one? There was somebody, Joe Rogan, and
Harry Maguire.
And Harry Maguire, aye.
Yeah, but Harry Maguire doesn't count as a fully fledged human being, so who cares?
Oh, you missed it. Brock Lesnar's
Brock Lesnar's daughter,
She'd batter you, Martin.
Oh, she will.
Like an Olympic wrestler or something.
No, she's trained there.
WNCAA.
She's not.
She's not a swimmer or something, no?
I don't know. She's something.
White shark.
She subsists on a diet of raw tatties and elk meat. She's definitely going to get.
Brock Lesnar doesn't have a pan to like boil his potatoes.
No.
He just screams at them until they turn mashed.
That should be a thing, like a series of Chuck Norris style jokes about how scary Brock Lesnar is. He screams at the tatties till they turn mashed. So I can totally imagine that.
Oh yeah.
Oh, absolutely. He's a frightening human being.
Again, who's not a frightening human being? Harry Maguire. Fuck him. Oh, see, I'll wear one of my shirts. He'll think I'm a teammate. I'm trying to protect him. Fucking clown.
Oreo will tackle you.
Oreo will tackle me. Either way. I don't live in fear of the big freak. Fuck him.
Sorry, there's a big pond between me and Brock Lesnar. I'm fine.
No,
hey, he's a multi-millionaire. He'll either swim it because he's a freak and he's a multi-millionaire, or just fly across. You're like a private jet. He'll appear at your...
Taking that guy out first that posted this picture only.
Bring it back up. Oh, Jesus.
Digging a hole, son.
It does look like her.
It does. Okay. Yeah. She's got bigger shoulders than that, though.
It's a bit broader than that. No offense to Lesnar.
I swear to God, see if he leaves like a comment on this video, I'm going to shit myself. Brock Lesnar, I mean, no Harry Maguire.
I'd throw my laptop in the bin.
It wasn't me.
Turns your GPS off.
It just can't find me.
He's got that predator senses, though. He'll smell you, right? He'll smell you.
See that Scotty's about here.
Smell you and he'll get you. That reminds me, actually, talking about this, and the other game that I binged through at this lockdown is this new game came out a few months ago called Man-Eater, where you play you take control of a genetically altered bull shark, and it was marketed as GTA, but with a shark, and it was. And I platinumed the shit out of that game. You know, I platinumed that game. It was brilliant.
That's right up your street.
Oh, god damn, it had like no plot at all. You're out for like revenge against the fisherman that killed your shark mother or something. Quite genuinely, and then you've got to keep growing big and huge, and then you get them at the end. It was brilliant. It's one about like killing crocodiles and sperm whales and things as a giant bull shark. It was amazing. This is so ridiculous. They can jump up out the water and do flips and catch people and poo them to bits. It's great fun.
Because lockdown would have been a great time to binge play Red Dead Redemption 2. if I didn't already.
Well,
That's a
we might,
great game.
It is a
might just
great
about
game.
finish it.
I'm still
It's
not finished
long. It is so long. There's so much to do as well. It's so good.
I get so sidetracked. See, when you could start fishing and shooting animals, I lost like a month to that. It's just right. I got a checklist. I want to kill one at everything in the game, and I just stopped.
Did you see the video that went viral of that guy that punched the suffragette?
I fed her to an alligator. They hog-tied her, fed her to an alligator.
Like, this one guy just ran up and punched her, and like he videoed it, and the world went mental about it. So like everyone was kind of like, you know, the way the internet turns when something goes, when folk freak out about something like that. What worse things can we do to her? So I started like tying her up and feeding her to alligators and all that. So it's just
to be fair on that, Johnny, I think I set her in fire. You know how you got the exploding fire bottles you could fling at folk? Oh no. Or did a hog tie her? I think a hog tie her and set her in fire.
I'm trying to remember if I encountered her. But because you get random, I encountered the KKK.
Aye, and the tree fell on them or something. One of them cuts down a tree or something and it falls on top of them. I think there's a few times you can meet the KKK. Because I came across them in a day and one of them get crushed by something.
I think mine when they set themselves on fire by accident for the road.
Because I ended up burning them. Oh, but I was just chucking the wee fireballs at them. I was like, how do you like it?
I think the inspiration for the KKK in Red Dead 2 was like, if you've seen that Tarantino film, fucking Django, you know how they're represented in that? They're all like really stupid and funny. I think that's how I think that was how they came across in that game. It was hilarious. And making the statics on the head. It's good. It's a great game though.
Red Dead Redemption 2 is phenomenal. It's really good.
What the world needs is an Undead Nightmare version, like they did with the first one.
Aye, Undead Nightmare was really good actually for the first one.
That was really popular as well.
It was great. I remember when it came out, man, it was brilliant.
Because the first one, that was the sequel to the second one.
Nah, something like that.
Aye.
The first one's actually...
It's about John Marston.
Aye, this Part 2 is a prequel.
Aye, prequel, aye, that's what I was meaning.
Like Red Dead Redemption is a sequel to the first one.
Red Dead Revolver.
Aye, Red Dead Revolver.
Which nobody's ever played. At least
I've never. I saw it. I remember seeing it in game and thinking, oh, that looks cool, but like the art of him just didn't look very great.
No. That's a while ago. That's an old game though.
Aye, that's a very old game. That's like the start of the 360.
Aye.
Life cycle.
Like
Look at us being old men together.
Back in my day.
Back in my day, we had zombie games.
I could rant about that because being a child of the 90s, everything was better. All the games were better. So I could sit and rant about how back in my day we had Mortal Kombat and it was great.
Back in my day, we had the Sega Mega Drive. Now the kids just have a VR where they can actually be in the game.
Aye, right. See, the sort of games I play, I don't want to be in them. They're all terrifying.
It'd be terrifying.
Imagine like a VR at Dead Island. That'd scare the shit out of you.
A VR Friday the 13th.
No. I have no desire.
Jason's running after Blair and he runs out his living room.
If it was me as Jason, I would get addicted to that, probably. No, as the camp counselor, and that'd be terrifying. But we've all seen the films, you can't get away from him. He always gets you.
He's a legit monster.
He's a zombie at this point.
You can't kill him.
No, he can't die. The man can't die. He goes to space, he goes to hell.
The man's been in space.
Jason X is a great film. Jason X is a great film. He is like Neil Armstrong, but without the steroids.
He's been in New York.
Oh, that's
Lance Armstrong.
No, Neil Armstrong never went to the moon. Stanley Kubrick directed that. It was fake. There's no wind in space.
There's no wind in space. It's true. There's no wind in space.
There's no wind. The flags flying all over the place. Fuck out of here with that, man. No having. That's a Halo of the show. I love me some conspiracies. That's a Halo of the
about Mike Tyson?
No.
Right.
We're totally going round in circles here, man. Fighting Brock Lesnar, games, films. Brock Lesnar, Mike Tyson.
Right. We'll go full circle into massive human beings. So, what do you think of Mike Tyson coming back?
I think, like on one hand, he's an old man, so you don't want to see him getting battered. But then heard that quote of him when he was like a few days ago saying that violence makes him sexually aroused. And you remember that he's a scary, scary motherfucker.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
I think it's that way as well. Like he's in his 50s, but he's not fighting somebody like Deontay Wilder. He's fighting another man in his 40s. Like,
Yeah.
He might win. He could win. Like, he hits hard as fuck. I mean,
Was it not cancelled recently?
it get pushed back.
Hmm.
It's pushed back to I think it's November. It's been pushed back to
this November, right?
Aye, I'm sure it is because it's him versus Roy Jones Jr. It's a great fight because they'd a couple of. I was listening to him on Joe Rogan. They had a couple of potential matchups.
Aye, and the first one was meant to be against Bob Sapp. I don't know if you remember him hearing that. That's the fight.
God.
That's the fight that should have happened. I would have loved that.
Bob Sapp's too prone to taking a dive into.
Just a bit.
Aye. So you can't trust Bob Sapp. But
Well, did it not make him rich?
Are we going to upset Bob Sapp in this?
Oh my God! I can't have the thundercloud coming after us.
I'm sure one of them was Vitor Belfort.
Ooh, against Mike Tyson?
Aye.
I would watch the hell out of that.
Because he's... Oh my God, I can't remember the guy's name. The old trainer for Shoot the Box. Like the team. He's training with him.
Nice.
Aye.
See, this is the old pride fan in me. I love these freak fights, man. Give me all of them. Mike Tyson v Vitor Belfort. Aye, I take that. Bare knuckle.
We were supposed to be doing it bare knuckled, or him versus Shannon Briggs. Bare knuckle.
Oh, I like him.
Shannon the Cannon.
He's funny, that old guy, man. He's funny. He's a funny guy.
Aye,
He's obviously insane.
He done a K1 fighting.
Did he?
Aye,
Jesus
what? He was talking about when he get leg kicked, and like somebody leg kicked him, and he was like, "Oh no, champ! Oh no!" He's going to be talking about how horrible to be leg kicked and how boxers don't really appreciate leg kicks. I think he appreciates them then. Because he get leg kicked, and he was like, "Oh no, champ!"
I did.
Oh no, champ.
When I was 18, I did like 3 weeks worth of Muay Thai training because my pal run a gym, and I wasn't any good at it. But I hated getting leg kicked. That's my biggest takeaway for that. The 3 weeks that I did it, which is nothing to talk about because I just got battered like every day for 3 weeks. Leg kicks.
Well, you cut down the redwood from the bottom.
What I hated most was checks. See, when you leg kick someone and they checked it. But one of my mates, he was really bad for that. See, when you were practicing technique, but so you were supposed to just kick, you weren't hitting hard, so you were supposed to just take the leg kick, and he was like checking it with his shin, and his shin smelled like steel. And he used to be like,
is that not how Anderson Silva snapped his leg like a tree branch?
Oh yeah.
Chris Weidman checked the
Chris
kick.
Weidman, aye.
And his leg folds ruined Chris Weidman's fucking shin. It was horrible looking, man.
Absolutely horrendous.
Don't lie,
That's
though.
all.
He loves the really bad sports injuries, didn't you? Like some of them.
Yeah.
I still remember when Henry Larsson snapped his leg in half against Leon in like 1997 or whenever it was. It was horrendous, man. Oh.
Well, that was pretty much all I used to watch. Like the start of YouTube, like
Sports
05,
injuries.
06, just sports injuries, and
Animal attacks.
yeah, and like
gonna
especially
get-
like the American football ones because they were just mental.
Well,
Like-
everybody in the NFL is like 7 feet tall and fucking 340
I know. They
pounds.
all look like how The Rock looks now.
Oh, Jesus. Aye. No need.
There's no
I
need
bet.
for it.
No, like Rock's just an actor now. He doesn't even wrestle anymore. So why he's still that size is beyond me. Because he's big. He's physically bigger now than when he was wrestling.
Oh yeah, way bigger.
Like a lot
Like
bigger.
maybe twice the size.
Aye.
Like, a lot bigger. There's no need for it.
I think how big he is now, that'd be quite hard performance-wise. But
Aye.
see, wrestle,
Yeah.
Aye.
Or the oxygen would get in his lungs and he would.
yeah, and I think that's just part of his gimmick now. Like, that's how he gets his roles because he's
Well,
huge.
Have
so he
you
just
seen
needs
any of
huge men.
the? Have you seen any of the Fast and the Furious movies?
Aye.
I've not seen any of the latest ones, but I've heard about it. Like The Rock throws a car at Vin Diesel, and Vin Diesel catches it while he's on a moving car.
Jesus.
Apparently, the new one's then going to space.
Space?
Space.
Maybe they'll see Jason. There's the crossover, people.
Hopefully.
Well, no, hopefully, because then Vin Diesel will beat Jason up in a fight and I'll be ready. Here's the thing about that, though. Because they'll make Vin Diesel whoop Jason and I'll be raging about that.
Well, there's
writing
something
Vin Diesel angry letters.
Contract that says he can only take as much damage as like his character can put out.
See,
so all his fights are 50-50.
The Rock fighting Jason is a better fight because Vin Diesel's toy. Like, he's quite well built, but he's a short guy. And there's that scene of him in like Fast 5, I think it is, where him and The Rock are squaring up to each other, and they're like fucking nose to nose. I mean, that is some editing trickery, because The Rock is like 6'5". Vin Diesel is not 6'5". Vin Diesel's shorter than me. I think he's like 5'10" or something.
Yeah,
he's quite a short guy.
Aye, like they fall out all the time.
The Rock would murder Vin Diesel.
Yeah,
I know.
Although I do like Vin Diesel's films. Pitch Black is brilliant. If anybody's ever seen that, it's just him kicking fuck out the aliens. It's great.
Like the first few Fast and the Furious movies, they were about racing and cars. Now they're catching cars, so they're superhuman and they're going to space and they're bank heists.
Absolutely,
they're absurd action films.
Yeah, whoever's writing them is definitely on coke.
I can confirm.
And there's too much emphasis on them now. They should stop making the Furious films and get us an Expendables 4, because that's what the people want. Oh, I mean, that's what I want anyway. I don't know.
I want it. Get it made.
Because the rumour was they were going to make a fourth one that had Pierce Brosnan and Hulk Hogan in it, and I want to see that. I want to see Hulk Hogan kick fuck out of Pierce Brosnan.
That's Mr. T.
I want. You would see that. You would go to the pictures and see that. Just Hulk Hogan being all
battered James Bond.
Aye. It'd be brilliant.
See if he actually came out to real American, I'd love it.
Like in the Rocky 3 outfit, he's got the Thunder Lips gear on. He's got the
it's Thunder Lips.
Which is, by the way, the best name in the history of cinema.
Thunder
Lips. Thunder Lips is here in the flesh, baby. Again, we've been talking for a while now and no really said anything like importance.
I think we've covered quite a lot. But something I actually did want to talk about. What did you think of the international break?
Scotland are pish. That's what I thought about it. Although we're top of that group now, aren't we? So that's nice. They beat the Czech Republic C team. That's pretty good.
I know that was painful to watch. Like
Scotland not just beat them.
It was 2-1 or something. 2-1.
It wasn't good.
No, it was terrible.
One each.
Scott McTominay in defence.
I don't know what Stevie Clark's trying to do there. Like, he's just playing. It's like he's playing so many people out of position that nobody really knows what their position is, and they all just look all over the place.
I didn't know of Andy Robertson in midfield. He was central midfielder or something.
He was playing essentially as a a wing back, which when you see Andy Robertson putting on a Scotland shirt, he just shrinks.
In his defence, though, he's got like quality running about him at Liverpool. He's not got quality in the Scotland team.
But when you see Kieran Tierney, he looks the exact same.
Well, again, he's not playing with quality. He's an Arsenal player. He fits in better.
I think that's what highlights who's better. Because Kieran Tierney, I could go into any team and play exceptionally well. Whereas Andy Robertson, that's good when you've got Manny in front of you and you've got Salah over the other side and Firmino running through the middle. It's easy.
Trent on the other side.
Yeah, but when you're Kieran Tierney and you're surrounded by Scott McKenna.
Hey, I like a bit of Scott McKenna. He's got the eyes of a psychopath.
He's got
the wide eyes of a serial killer.
You've got Ryan Jack coming in to receive the ball, who's like a shit version of Barry back past Ferguson. Like why he was playing in midfield and McSauce was at the back was
Sure, the main man, Big Scott McSauce.
was an absolute mystery to me. But
He's been Man United's best midfielder for like 3 years now. Like without joking, he's played much better than Paul Pogba has for the last 2 or 3 years. Scott McTominay.
yeah,
I mean, he just has. He's been better in every way. Pogba will play like one good match and then disappear for the next 8, whereas McTominay's at least consistent.
because it's like Pogba just doesn't want to be there, does he?
No, and I don't want him to be there either. So I mean,
No, because he doesn't want to be there. The fans don't want him to be there.
a lot of folk it's quite funny watching it on Twitter because the Twitter comments are always insane. Listen, nobody makes any sense. So you've got half of them passionately saying, "Oh, he does is get his hair cut," blah, blah, blah. And then the other half saying, "Oh, he's better than De Bruyne," and like he's a Beth insane. It's ridiculous. His haircut's all stupid, but that's just because I'm jealous because I'm bald. So.
Like he's a good player, but he's
no better than Kevin De Bruyne though. That's
no.
Like, and I think Fernandes coming in has highlighted how badly Pogba's been. Because now that midfield, I mean, aside for the fact that Fernandes, he scores a lot of penalties, that's not what I'm going to get to. But he's like brought a bit of creativity into that midfield that was supposed to be Pogba's job for the last 4 years now. Yeah. For 4 years, we keep hearing, he's world class, and he keeps no doing anything. So I don't know what to say at this point. It's been long enough.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know what to say. I would sell him, but nobody seems to want to buy him. So
I think it's the price.
Because the price.
Yeah, because United bought him for a bit of a ridiculous price. Well, I say ridiculous. When he was at Juventus, he was one of the best midfielders in the world, and since then he has went on to win like the World Cup, etc. So I can't understand how there would be a big price around him, but like you can't expect to get that much back from him. I think they kind of need to cut their losses and either build a team around him and get him happy and get him playing the way
they tried that though, didn't they? After the lockdown thing, Ole played him in his proper like position. They brought Matic in to defend, to free Pogba up, and it was supposed to be him and Bruno running the shit, and Pogba never done anything for the rest of the season, and Bruno did pretty much everything. So I mean, Ole
he made like a 30-yard pass. That was like his best thing they did.
Yeah, that was the word in it. They all got to keep him happy and keep him on side, and Ole tried that, and he was still pish. So I mean, I don't know what more anybody wants. They expect. It's been 4 years and he's done fucking nothing except dab a couple of times. And that's it. Fuck him. Should have been sold years ago. In fact, if you'll remember when he was going to be re-signed, I was against it. I said Ferguson sold him for a reason, and he should have stayed away. But Mourinho obviously didn't listen to me, did he? So he should have. He should have.
Yeah, Mourinho didn't see our group chat.
He didn't. Podcast gone back then, maybe would have.
He should have. Maybe. Because I don't like Mourinho anyway, so I was annoyed about him coming in. But then he went and signed Zlatan, and I was right, fair enough. That might be quite good because Zlatan, isn't it?
Yeah, he was good. Was good.
And Zlatan was brilliant. He did well. He scored 30 goals or something all in that season in all competitions.
Mm-hmm.
Premier League and the Europa League and that. But Pogba's been shite for 4 years. Maybe it's because he's not got Pirlo beside him anyway. Like he looked great in Juventus because he had Pirlo and Vidal and Marquisio. So now he's not got them.
Yeah, who would have guessed?
Yeah, right. I'm always right.
Just like Andy Robertson,
Oh, right. Stop that, you. Oh, Kieran Tierney can play with shite players. Oh,
yes,
good ability.
That's all you need.
You both rang, man. None of the two are the best left backs gone. Fucking Brandon Williams. Come on. Come on now. Big Brandon Williams.
I thought
Shaw's better than him.
Aaron Wan-Bissaka was like the main man. Trent come outside.
He's
and all that nonsense.
He's better than Trent defensively.
Defensively, yeah.
No,
but as an overall footballer, he's not as good.
Are we on about Brandon Williams here?
No. Wan-Bissaka. Yeah, but they're two different right backs, isn't they? Wan-Bissaka's better defensively. And
he's got a slide tackle, that's about it.
He's quite good defensively, to be fair to him.
He's not as good as Bissaka.
I think he gets a lot more stick than he deserves. But, like, it depends who he's up against. Weirdly, he was really good against Ronaldo in the Champions League final, but he's like awful against Rashford.
That's because Rashford's better than Ronaldo.
Oh. Right, I think we should stop this now.
That's obviously a joke.
To be fair,
Marcus
Rashford's
Rashford, as
quite
I
a good
said,
kid.
he's a saint. And if he sees this,
They're good.
he's welcome for dinner at my house anytime.
Set
Yeah.
up in Snake Mountain.
He can come to Snake Mountain. He can eat in the fortress of the. He's a saint.
What would you cook him?
I wouldn't cook him nothing, Carol. I wouldn't cook for him.
What would you cook him?
That's my personal. She'd probably make him a steak or something. I don't know.
What would you cook him?
I can't cook. Mate.
Aye, if he came to
that's
your
not true.
door and Caroline wasn't in, what would you make him?
I'd run down to Lidl and get a nice hale chicken. I'd roast him a chicken. You could have a nice cooked chicken and some crusty bread. Because I'm or a
A whole cooked chicken and a tiger loaf.
Aye, I'm good at cooking a hale roast chicken. You got to cover the skin in butter. It makes it nice and crispy.
Make him a piece and toast.
Hey, I like a piece and toast. I'll tell you what I make him, which I guarantee he's never had before in his life. I get him like one of them restaurante oven pizzas and some like tatty crickets or something. Fling that in the oven, give him a nice council dinner. You can Marcus Rashford's never had that.
That and some tap water.
And some side water.
Some council juice.
We side plate of sausages.
Some mother's bread.
Because
that's a reference.
That's an old reference. There's
an old reference.
There's no meal alive that cannot be improved by a side plate of links. Imagine you go to a restaurant, any meal that you want to buy will be increased tenfold in enjoyment. A wee side dish, one of the wee saucer dishes with just 4 links on it. It would be better. It would make everything better.
In college, me and Blair used to just look at restaurant menus to see if they had a side plate of sausages.
Did anyone have it?
Oh, no, it's not.
No.
Ever since I was a boy, it's been a dream of mine to own a meat restaurant, like a restaurant chain that caters exclusively to like big game meats. It'd be called Big Blair's House of Munch or something like insane like that. It'd be me with a cowboy hat on, it would look brilliant. So like if I ever get to realise my dream, I'll have the side plate of links. That'll be on the sides. And where you normally would get a stupid side salad that nobody wants, you could have a wee plate of links and everything. You'd be happy. You would be happy.
Links and shrimp.
Popcorn shrimp. Yes, we never did go to Tony Roma's and get that.
No, we didn't.
If we go for a company dinner when the world stops ending, we should go to Tony Roma's.
When someone puts the on switch back on.
When this plague fucks off, we can all go out for dinner. Get ribs.
We spent like almost the whole class trying to find the best route to Tony Roma's in Glasgow.
And then we ended up going on.
No, and to see what we would order and everything. It was a great class.
I think I get that hungry in that class. I think I just went home and ordered like a giant pizza and a box of chicken pakora or something. Something beholden to a piece of scum like me.
A council creation.
Oh yes.
Oh,
You've got to put the pakora on top of the slice of pizza as well, and then eat it like a piece. Or a sandwich for our English viewers. Sandwich. Good sandwich.
Right, well, I'm starving now, so we're going to wrap this up, boys.
Aye.
It's been good. I don't know how to even end a thing like this. Until next time.
If anyone wants to wait till that, I'll get the Twitter handles up.
Oh, all of that.
I'll go for the formal ones. So if anyone's wanting to follow us on Twitter, it's @always_wired, and it'll be Always Wired Media. If you want to follow the MMA one for more MMA juicy goodness, it's Wired_MMA. What's the wrestling one?
AW on wrestling.
It never gets used.
No, it's wrestling today's.
And we've got.
I think we're supposed to talk about that today, weren't we? How shite wrestling is. It never happened.
No, never happened. We talked about old wrestling with Kane.
And how big his Arabs were.
And we've got Facebook and Instagram as well, which is pretty much just the same, Always Wired Media. So if you want to follow us on any social media, then feel free. If not, fuck you.
You're really going in for a penny and for a pound, but that's pissing folk off. But
Yeah,
you're the heel. You're the heel that always was.
I was about to say, who goes full heel on the debut?
I know, right? You got to ease into it.
Let the personality come in slowly. Let them know we're heels from the beginning.
It's going to be a double turn, because I look like the heel, but I'm not. This is Stone Cold and Bret Hart at Mania 13.
Oh, I can see it. I can see it now.
Covered in blood.
Let's go with the goatee.
I'd need to trim it a bit, wouldn't I, to get the goatee.
Anyway, thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next week.
See you next week. Bye.
Bye.